Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on back to the booth. Today we are going to go ahead and do that fun draw show that everybody's been looking forward to. So, Buggleberry Finn, without further ado, take it away, baby.
You got it, man. So, economy and executive, we don't have to do a draw show. There's only 8 teams in each. So we're gonna hit them with financial first. Then we're gonna dive into commercial. And then you guys can do the power rankings for those two things. So it'll be like perfectly matched up with once you get your other hooligans online. I also don't want to spoil too much, but word on the street is that Vega's got an updated algorithm.
Indeed,
I don't know if you want to speak on that.
Well, I'm going to let him take it away on that one, but you are correct. The word on the street is also correct. The algorithm has been updated, refined,
Okay, no
refreshed.
Doubt. That's good. All right, I'm glad that he's been keeping it fresh. Speaking of keeping it fresh, let's get this thing rolling. Picking financial first. Here's how this works. I think in financial there's no doubles, so there's not going to be any hardcore ruling of moving teams. But what's going to happen is I'm going to pull one. That's going to go in Group A. Next one I pull will be Group B, and we'll continue to go back and forth until we are completed. Are you ready to put the inputs in, Jackie boy?
So ready.
Praetorian, are you ready to have mild feelings about whoever I pull and what group they're in?
I'm always ready for that.
Great. All right, let's get some feelings going. Got the bowl right here. Here we go. Financial Group A, first draw. I almost feels like this is fake. It's Les Force's team. Team Volatility, BYOB. First team, Financial Group A. Financial Group B, first team. Panther Core Ronin. Panther Core Ronin, which I believe is Slothman captaining that one this year.
That's correct.
Slothman's pretty handsome. I never met Slothman.
He's very handsome.
Very handsome. Financial Group A. Speaking of people that are handsome, Diamond Hearts Club, Val. Val's team, very handsome. Can we get our second here for Group B? Oh my God. New team coming in. Squirtle Squad, second team in Financial B. Squirtle Squad. Back to A for 3. This is a team that I think this is still their name. This is what I wrote because this is what I had most recently. Clown Gaming It. I believe that's still their name. I don't think that they have changed. Clown Gaming It. That's Financial A. Looking for our third in B. Serenity Imperial. Let's have that one. Almost halfway there. What's up?
Buggle, I'm going to go ahead and interrupt you for a second. The Wild Moose 7296 has gifted 5 Tier 1 subs to the LBLCS.
I'll drink to that.
Trad got one of them. The Boy Truth got one of them. Legit R, which I think is the captain of another financial team.
Well,
thank you, Moose.
We are on to Financial Group A, Team 4. Oh. Sadness. I guess. Sadness is a team, which is depressing. So Sadness, welcome to Financial Group A. And KFC, welcome to Financial Group B. KFC, listen, I gotta take a drink for KFC because they're one of my favorite teams.
As Buggle is taking his drink, Hollow Cube 3, we are drawing brackets for our teams for this low-budget amateur League of Legends tournament league. You can go ahead and find the Discord link in the whatever is below this Twitch stream if you'd like to go ahead and check out the Discord and see what's up. Welcome on in.
Gonna be going now for 5th team in Financial Group A. 5th team. Hey, Jackie boy.
Yes.
Panther Core Highlanders, bud. So you'll be you'll be in Group A, dude, which is good because we already knew that, really, because the other Panther Corps team was drawn to Group B, but
Yeah.
there you go.
Wouldn't
As
want
all things should
face
be.
the other one.
Retirement to play on that team.
As all things should be. There you go. Group B. Ooh. I want to talk about this team really quick. The 5th team here in Group B. They are a team that has the best logo, and they post it every year. And if you can see logo submissions in our Discord, you should go look at it. It is indeed Tree Gang. Tree Gang, coolest dudes in the entire LBLCS right there. 5th in Financial B. Financial Group A getting their 6th. Howdy, Chef. Howdy, Chef.
Howdy.
Team, I'm not aware of that team. Is that a new team, Praetorian?
Why are you asking me?
I'm asking you because I don't know who Howdy Chef is.
Hold on. I think so.
Who's the captain of Howdy Chef?
Hold, please hold. It's Arcadius.
Oh, it's Team Laser Moon.
Oh, Team Laser Moon. Oh, you can't be name switching on us like this.
They're tricking us up. Okay, they're tricking us up. Back to B for number 6. Naughty Raccoons, another naughty team. Naughty Raccoons. Gonna be in Financial Group B. All right, here we go. Closing this one out. 7 in A. Big famous TikToker. You probably heard of him. He has a needlessly large rod. That's the name of his team. Dizzy Dave going to be thrown in Financial Group A right there.
Hey, Jack.
Dizzy Dave.
Are we in the middle of like a spelling bee here? Or what?
I don't worry about it.
All right.
Are you misspelling all these teams? Is that what's happening right now?
I was just confirming.
There's
I was just
a tab
confirming.
open that said how to spell raccoon.
Wow, I love that. I love that. Needlessly large rods going into Group A. We're closing Financial Group B out with 2 more teams, but the first one is going to be Dirty Rats Xfinity, DRX.
Here they have double lifts. Probably pretty cracked.
100 Thieves double lift too, yeah, so you know that he's legit, very real. All right, we've got 2 teams left. One is a team I haven't pulled yet, and the other is a team I also haven't pulled. And I'm totally aware of both of their names, but the first one...
That's an incredible coincidence.
Thank you. Is Diggers, to be very clear. DDD. Diggers. That is the last team in Financial Group A, which means our last buddy, solo in here, is going to be Tip Top Gaming. Tip Top Gaming will close out Financial Group B.
All right.
Let me put these all back in here.
Not too bad. These groups aren't too bad. We've got the groups are up on your screen for those of you listening only. So you can go ahead and refer to those. They'll be released soon.
I gotta switch out the bowl now because that's
get the new bowl.
All right, just to take everyone through a format reminder before we move on to commercial. This season, commercial has 30 teams, 3-0. There will be 3 groups of 10 teams. Yes, because we're a big math pod here.
You're so
3
fucking
groups
smart.
of 10 teams. The regular season is 8 weeks, in which every commercial team will play 8 opponents, not 7. There'll be no makeup week. And that 9th team that the commercial team will not play in the regular season becomes your buddy team.
And that buddy
What is the
team,
buddy team?
is gonna that buddy team. If you're a commercial captain, you've seen it posted. If you're a commercial player, they maybe not have told you, but they're like your scrim partner, your buddy, somebody you can talk to you about the league. They're the team you're not gonna play. So like that's your last matchup. So when the schedules come out, if you're wondering who your buddy team is, it's just gonna be that last matchup that you have, and we'll make that really clear too. But just so you know, like everybody's gonna have a buddy team. If your buddy was Sammy Two Slap, I'm really sorry. Apparently he hates you already and he doesn't know who you are. So that's his bad.
So to be clear, are we doing the buddies today, or will the buddies be disclosed at a later point in time?
I will probably create schedules today, tomorrow. We'll post them, and then they should know within about 24 hours of this draw show who their buddy will be.
And when that's released, all the like brackets of groups will also be posted as well, so everybody
Yes.
can refer back to that within 24
Right.
hours of this show.
Yeah, so you guys can just see the outline. You can
Delicious.
see who you've got with you. Now, the exciting thing is that you're going to see your whole group basically, but one of them is going to be your buddy team. So it's a little bit of a mystery up in the air for now. With that being said, are we ready? This one gets a little confusing, so let me just remind people. Sister teams, meaning teams from the same organization, cannot be in the same group. So if at any point I pull a team that would be a sister team with someone else in that group, we will just slide them to the next one. They'll take that next spot. Also, if you're good at the game and you get into my group, I'm going to push you to the next group too. So I'm going to need like only bad teams in my group, okay? Just pretty clear about that ahead of time.
Alright. Yeah.
Are you taking AG1?
Actually, yeah, this is an AG1 bottle, but I've put like my electrolyte blend in it. If you can guess
Alright,
which
well-
electrolyte blend, then you know which podcast I listen to.
Big guy.
I also have my
Okay.
AG1 bottle. I thought maybe I should go grab it and we should all wear
Do it.
sunglasses. I'll be right back. Pause. You guys talk about commercial league. I'll be right back.
Commercial League.
Well, let's see. The last time I knew anything about Commercial League was when I played in Commercial League in Season 5. That was spring of 2021.
I don't think I ever played in
So I'm a little
Commercial League.
outdated.
I think I leapfrogged it.
No, you
Because I
lost
was
an
in-
economy, then lost an executive 2 seasons in a row after that.
I don't know what I did to you. Oh my god. Somebody else has joined us.
Someone else has joined us. Who could that be?
I heard that
It's-
Buggle was away. This is the perfect time to jump on. He's coming back. Guys, I don't know if I can
Yeah, I think he's found you out here.
Chance, where? Oh. Oh.
Oh,
He gone.
Look at this thing. Look at this.
the only thing I
This
don't
is
like about
becoming a commercial for AG1.
I
Oh,
know.
look who decided to join us.
All right,
Look who decided to show up.
Not halfway through. I'm coming back from the gym. Hold on. That was
We
my-
already did the
that was
whole
my game.
Yeah, we already did all the financial.
financial already. So.
Listen, I was in the car listening to it. I was in the gym listening to it. Just
That's
sprinting out,
dedication.
finishing out a mile, fucking,
Big guy.
shaking the treadmill back and forth with all that force. And now I'm here.
Would you say you have more force or less force? That's not sorry.
Oh,
I-
my
Shut the
God.
fuck up.
Yeah, specific-
I'm gonna stop.
There's a beautiful portion of every LBLCS season, which you're right in the beginning where we've got these wonderful new teams coming in, but then we've got really excited people who've played past seasons who are just machine gunning LBLCS specific lore and references. It's like everybody will catch up at some point, but there's a lot of lore to the league. Anyways, carry on, guys. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Do you have aviators on you?
Also, do you have
I
athletic greens?
glasses near me. What?
Do you have AG1? Do you have an AG1 bottle? Because me and Jackie Boy are.
What is
bonding.
AG1?
Oh, Jackie
I'm
Boy, go
drinking
ahead.
Poland Spring right now.
AG1 is a combination
Yeah,
of
Deer
a
Park.
number of different like vegetables and antioxidants and vitamins and minerals. It's also got a couple of adaptogens in it, so it helps you with stress, it helps you with sleep.
This
It's a
isn't
complete
sponsored, by the
nutrient
way.
blend. It's not sponsored by AG1, but
sponsored.
damn it, it could be.
Could be.
AG1. I'm sure you're listening to this.
Yeah, you can sponsor us. That's cool.
AG1
that's
is a
cool.
complete blend of all the vitamins and minerals that you need. That's why when people ask me if they could take one supplement, what would it be? I always recommend AG1.
Look at that rehearsed, that practiced commercial there.
In fairness, Jackie Boy does host a podcast, so if anybody should be talking about AG1, it probably is Jackie Boy. With that being said, we're gonna jump right into the commercial. This is gonna be commercial Group A, first draw. All right, are we ready? Chance, are you ready to have reactions to whatever I draw?
I'm so excited. I'm bubbling over with excitement.
All right. Well, you're going to be pretty damn excited by this one, and let me tell you why. It's Serenity insert name. Okay.
Get the
You know
fuck
who's-
out of here! God damn it! Holy!
Do you know who's captaining that? I'm
Actually
Leap.
don't.
I'm Leap.
Leap is?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah. Leap, I don't know if you're watching this. If you remember, we played together on a team one season and we lost almost every single game, but it was still a ton of fun.
Yeah, the admin record as players in LVLCS isn't the worst thing in the world, but also isn't.
Well, it depends on what version of the
Yeah.
admins you're talking about. If you're
That's fair,
talking
that's
about
fair,
the
that's
Rose
fair.
Bros team, I think we've won maybe 2 games.
Well, in fairness to it, Spooky Man was cursed, and he had to have the curse lifted, and now he's like he can make it past the first round of playoffs. So like there is some like weird magic going on too.
Like the LVLCS cannot possibly be rigged if you figure out the cumulative admin win rate.
Probably below 20% if we add all of us just together. It's probably pretty bad. Okay, are we ready for the first team here in commercial Group B? All right, well that doesn't. It's Serenity Bad Boys Club. So I don't know what the probability is. Someone can look it up. But I pulled Serenity teams back to back. Serenity BBC going in Group B seems fitting to me. A lot of words that rhymed right there. We are going for commercial Group C. First team. SNC Dreaded Dawn. SNC Dreaded Dawn is going to be the first team in Group C.
Snack Bears.
Snack Bears, indeed.
The other day
Snack
I was
Bears-
trying to figure out where the Bears went in SNC and then realized that SNC was not short for Dreaded Dawn. It was short, or Bears. It was just short for snack. And that took me a
Snack.
while.
There is another snack team. So we just have to remember that if we draw another snack team in C, we have to move them. All right. Second in Group A is Triferix. And that is just the normal Triferix. There's another Triferix team that's in the two
Triferix,
slots.
if you're out there, add something to the end of this first Triferix team, please.
Just normal Triferix in Group A. Commercial Group B. Goons Incorporated is in
Quality name.
Group B. Going back to Group C, second team in Group C. Trying to move this along here. Team Volatility Arcana. Team Volatility Arcana is in Group C.
Those guys.
All right. Group A, round 3, is none other than Simian Surfers. All right.
Which is a monkey, if we had to figure that out when they see the
Simian,
logo.
yes.
Okay, I'm
yes. Well, you missed many teams, but we're getting ready to have more reactions. To different
I'm
ones.
looking at them. They're great. I feel like it
Okay.
went too big on the reaction for the first team, and that slowed us down. We can't possibly. There are 30 teams. We can't go at that
I have
clip.
a reaction about this one because the next team in Group B, their captain is a surgeon. It is Triferic Souls in Group B. Triferic Souls.
Oh, is that Sammy's?
That's
Sammy's team?
indeed Sammy's. Yes.
There's like an incoming investigation into Sammy for paying his players too much. He was trying to bait other people off with the offer of free boba on Sammy's team for practices. So if you like boba,
Wow.
hit him up.
Wow.
I like that we're
That's surgeon
investigating him,
salary.
but also
It's the
bringing
surgeon
more
salary.
attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a PR
But, like,
investigation stuff.
You know, for all the team owners out there, like, this is ridiculous. Salaries can't be that high.
No, so true. So true.
Thank God you. I was so worried. You were
Damn, that's a
online
man
here.
right there.
You weren't gonna
That's
have
why,
sunglasses.
that's why I was running around as I was trying to find, because I don't own aviators, but these are sunglasses.
That's-
Also, I saw some people comparing me to Dementors in the chat.
Interesting.
If maybe we could be a little bit more favorable than the soul-sucking monsters. A hot damn.
They're kind of cool, dude. Don't
What?
knock it. Don't knock it. So you like really let that comparison soak in. They're kind of cool.
They are kind of cool. They float and they fly, and I'm not mad about it. Be so convenient. Save so much money on gas. I'd let
You
you
would save a lot of money on gas if you were to venture.
Jesus Christ, guys. Beautiful.
All right,
Beautiful.
where are we? How many do we have in each group? I could count them all pulled, but I'm on Group C.
We
right?
have right now. We're on the third team of Group C.
And Group C right now is Team Volatility and SNC Dreaded Dawn. Am I crazy?
Yes.
Okay. Well, joining that elite group in Group C is indeed Panther Corps Sentinels. Panther Corps Sentinels.
Someone has to keep watch over Group C. Also, when I was listening before, I heard you guys were. Jack, are you just like freeballing this, like typing this out? You don't have the names in front of them. You're just doing it by ear.
Yeah, when he says them, I type them. That's why I
I
had to
heard
look up how to
Depretorian
spell
was-
raccoons.
Yeah, no, listen. As someone who also spells things wrong a lot of the time, we can't go around bullying people because they're not spelling things right the first time, or maybe
We
even the
absolutely
second,
have
third, or
to
Speak your
fourth
truth,
time.
King.
People.
I think everybody gets 5 tries, 5 good tries to spell something right
Alright,
before we
so-
start leading into them.
Jack
I
can
wanna just
misspell
say
things. The
both
chance to
bullying-
mispronounce things. It's okay.
Both bullying and spell checker free, so I don't have any problem with either.
All right, that's fair.
So we can use both. We can do both things here. All right.
Have we
Going.
mispronounced any team names yet?
If we have,
Almost.
We're going
certainly.
to.
we're going to keep doing it the rest of the year. I want to be clear. Like, I'm kind of setting the precedence for the mispronunciation. So just get ready to be called that forever. Speaking of which, we've got. And I don't have the list. You guys are making the list in front of you as I'm going. I don't think team. Well, I just actually said this. Hang on. Team Volatility is already in Group C, so I'm drawing for Group A, so this is fine. Team
Yes.
Volatility Chaos is in Group A. Team Volatility Chaos is in Group A. All right.
Volatility and chaos.
Volatility.
Doubling down. on
Chaos
the
spelled with a
damage.
K, though. Jack.
It is spelled with a K, which
And
made me think about.
how is Jack supposed to know that?
Would make
You
me
just
think
gotta
about
know. We know
misspelling
Less
it.
Force. Jack
There
hosts
was-
a podcast of Less Force. How does he not know that?
There was a coin toss that I just spelled it with a K anyway. So
Nice. Good. I'm right with you. That doesn't seem wrong to me.
Group B, joining in Group B is SNC, which it should not already be Twempest Fwame. Not Tempest Flame, Twempest Fwame. I gotta set the precedence, right?
Is it a different team? Is there a Tempest Flame?
Oh, I'm just mispronouncing their name. This is,
Oh, you fuck.
back to our bit of mispronouncing names.
God damn it.
They are, and I am right? SNC is not in that group already. We don't have to push that.
you are correct.
All right, I'm crushing it right now. I have so many thoughts.
Hi, Vega.
Did you just whisper hello to somebody in chat?
I know this isn't the time to have one-on-one conversations, but
Let's let him.
please carry on.
All right. BBQ Boys, Barbecue Boys are joining Group C. That's Barbecue Boys into Group C. I love
It's
the
a nice
Barbecue
time
Boys.
of year for barbecues.
It is.
It really is.
What kind of dress? We could all go to a barbecue right
I
now.
went to a barbecue
We could
last
fuck
night.
up a barbecue
You did.
right
You
now.
did go.
I
to a barbecue
did.
last
And
night.
the food was so good. The food was so good, and they said, take leftovers, fill up your
Oh,
plates.
the
walk
take
out here with some-"
leftovers.
And I took a plate. I ate it for lunch. The leftovers, it was so good. If there was a restaurant that made this food, I would eat there 2 times.
There's so
a week.
many
There
restaurants.
are
Absolutely.
indeed barbecue restaurants out
Yeah,
there.
I know.
Look for them.
I
The
know.
quality of this food, it was incredible. It was
Specifically this-
fantastic.
This
Oh my
chef.
god.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe call up the Barbecue Boys. They'll start a restaurant for you.
I hope so.
We are going into commercial Group A. How many teams do we have in Group A already?
We are about to
4.
input the 5th team.
5th team is the Homo Simpians. Homo Simpians
Coming into Group A.
coming into Group A in the 5th slot. And they're a new team, I believe. And I actually think, I can't remember, but I believe they're they already posted their logo as well. I might be wrong. I might be thinking of the Simian Surfers. I don't know. It's very confusing. They think it's like also they both have monkeys. It's very confusing.
Right.
Which is great because that's also a team in that group, so it'll be great when they play each other. We'll really chalk it up. All right, Group B. One of my favorite teams, Misfits. The Misfits going into commercial Group B right there. I think Kakarot's probably also in here.
Yeah, Sammy just
I'd
said
be surprised if they were.
Buggle owes me a shotgun, but with no context.
It's true. I'm also inside though. I'll finish this beer and then I'll house that one.
I understand.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay, I'm
All
understanding now.
You can understand my confusion. I didn't know.
I'll start the explanation though. There's a
All right.
function where you can pay schmeckles to make casters drink.
Right.
He
I'm
paid
a
a
lightweight,
tremendous
so I
amount of
can't
schmeckles.
engage in that. Otherwise, it would just be
Well, he was going to give me alcohol poisoning, so I had to stop. And I said, I'll just shotgun one in the future. And I think
Smart.
this is the decided date. And then from
Beautiful.
there, it's just chaos.
We gotta auction off like an experience, like get the shotgun anything with a caster or something.
Is that chaos with a K or chaos with a C?
good question.
Good.
Huh?
Yeah, it's definitely with a K, because just like Team Volatility does. All right. 5th team for Group C is already in my hand. And this is a team that I've been very, very excited for. And I will say, like, their application blew me away. And I can say this because it was so well written and it was so energetic. It is Detroit versus everybody. Detroit versus everybody. I'm going to be a big fanboy of Detroit versus everybody. They also posted their logo today. Pretty clean, pretty simple.
The logos this season have been out of control. So just incredible across the board, across every single league. I'm actually going to go and look at theirs right now.
All right. 6th team for Group A.
Hi, Dongwater. Dongwater's the captain of Detroit versus everyone.
Well,
Hey,
dude,
beautiful.
You typed great words. I loved all the words. I hope I love you. I can't wait to talk to you at length about specifically how to type words. Group A, 6th team is recent champs who will never let it go. I fear 10 LBLCS seasons from now, they will still be posting that they are champions. It is indeed High Alert. That is coming in commercial Group A.
Nobody saw me just start to type recent champs because I thought that was the team name.
Nah, dude. Nah, man. Not at all.
Can you imagine winning and then the next season just putting your
Recent champs. That's a good
champs.
idea, by the way. Not
Kind of a
opposed.
baller move.
Especially if you came in last, too. Like, people would be like, wait, hold
That's
up.
an even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack, why are you in charge of typing? This is usually my job.
I have no fucking clue how this landed on my plate.
By the way, we're not switching jobs. He's typing any
Yeah,
misspellings
It's
are
fine.
going in the sheets.
It's fine.
All right. Oh, Group B. This is by far the most handsome team. It's not close. Just chiseled abs, features, especially the top laner. At least that will start. It's Stop, Drox, and Roll. Stop.
Please.
Drox, and Roll.
That's fucking talking about yourself, dude.
You've seen Spooky Man up close. The man is something Michelangelo would be jealous
That's
of.
true.
He's there, man.
I spent 2 back-to-back weekends with the boy, and I already miss him.
Yeah,
Alright,
I
so
mean,
you know earlier we were talking about admin win rate. How many admins are on this team? Or
Yeah.
former admins, advisors. Like how many are we talking?
I want to say 5 of 8. 5 of 8.
Sounds like you
Alright.
guys are.
Sounds like you're in
That's-
for like an 0-13 season, but
You know what, though?
No, actually, they're guaranteed. A Spooky Man has a very explicit curse on him.
Yeah.
They're guaranteed to make it to the first round of playoffs, where they will be absolutely ass blasted by the lowest ranked team
Yep.
in the league,
Yep.
who will destroy them, and then they will go on to have a beautiful Cinderella story and have an incredible. They're going to win the whole thing after that.
That's how
So,
it works. Year
absolutely.
after year, that is how it works. On to the 6th team here for commercial Group C. By the way, I'm in fucking Sammy's group, I just realized.
Good luck,
Damn
man.
it. He's gonna make me drink while I'm casting other games, and when I'm playing, it's gonna be a nightmare. It's gonna be tough. This team, LA Tech Varsity. LA Tech Varsity.
Oh, varsity.
Yeah, varsity, not JV.
Hell yeah.
Not JV. LA Tech Varsity going into commercial group C right there. Who will be joining the champs in Group A? Well, Flash Set Alt. Flash Set Alt. That is the team name, by the way. I know you're looking at your phone right now, Jackie Boy, but Flash Set Alt is the team name of that. It sounded like I was just trying to shock off something that wasn't happening, but
It's their whole game plan put right up in their team name. They're
Well,
letting you know
it's
right
really
away.
bold to put a league champion in your team name
Do they
and expect
play
it to
set?
get through. Well,
I
that's
know
why
that they have to play set. If anybody's from that team, please let us know if you play. Yeah, there's also Flash for Damage is another team, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's Demonic Sombra's team.
That is okay.
They actually respect the sanctity of the league and don't change their name every year, which I
They
appreciate.
don't confuse the hell
They
out
don't
of us.
confuse me into oblivion.
Yeah.
All right. Group B, commercial Group B is Silent Assassins. Silent Assassins joining Group B.
Nice.
Group C joining the likes of many and very handsome players like Panther Core Ronin and all the other teams I forget in that group.
Except
a good
that
name.
would be
Financial, but,
financial. You're talking about Sentinels.
Whatever. What?
Wait, Vega, is this a team that you're coaching this year? Again,
Which one?
trying to have a one-on-one conversation in a group format. Apologies.
Well, this is a good name, and it's actually
yeah.
kind of similar to
Alright,
Dizzy
sweet.
Dave's team name because they're like a play on words of an item, and it's the Infinity Edgelord. Infinity
Oh.
Edgelords. And it's infinity, that's one word, Jackie.
Hilarious.
Edgelords is another word. I want
I
to be
get it.
clear.
I get it.
Well, I want to make sure Jackie Boy's clear. He's the one typing.
Totally fair.
Did you get that, bud?
He's
No,
going
I
crazy.
got Ruffian's trying to blow up my phone with suggestions.
Oh,
what
can you
was-
just have him call me and then I'll put him on speaker? It'll be good.
He can just join the call.
What was the team?
Yeah, we're gonna call it.
That would be too complicated.
Infinity Edge Lords is Group C. Group A. How many teams we got left in each group here? Because I'm getting to the bottom of the barrel of this.
I'm not gonna lie, I cannot really see my screen with my sunglasses on, but
We've got 3 teams left
Yeah,
per
this
group.
is a real problem.
We're starting 8. Yeah, that's why I keep tilting my head sideways, is because my lenses are polarized.
I just like.
this episode brought to you by Shady Rays. Sunglasses aren't meant to be loved; they're meant to be lived in. Shady Rays, another unsponsored.
Well, this team's cooler
Jim.
than me. This team is cooler than me. I know because their team name is cool, and their team backflip joining Group A. Team backflip.
I've never. Let's just go around. Can you all raise your hand if you've ever been able to do a backflip in your life?
Jack,
Diving board.
So 50% of people.
Don't worry.
it's like if it was anyone, it would have been Jack, but it's fine. Whatever.
Well, I'll
We'll
let
have
you
to
know.
work on that.
I'm really tiny, and so I did gymnastics until I was about 14.
Hell
I
yeah.
was real small.
I wish I kept doing gymnastics. I just like it's one of those things where like you wish that you had mastered that language that you had started taking. Blah blah. I just want to be able to do flips and cartwheels right now, whenever
Dude,
I want,
Hear me
for
out.
no reason.
Hear me out.
Okay.
I wish I could
They
play
did-
like. Sorry,
In like
go on.
2008, like something really cool came out. It's called like YouTube. It might come out earlier than that. I just
Okay.
pushed it in a
Alright,
year.
cool. Yeah.
But it just teaches you how to do shit. You could probably learn it back if you really wanted to. You could go to a barbecue every Saturday and then spend 2 hours trying to do a backflip.
Join us for this new LBLCS series where LaChance tries to learn how to do a backflip.
That's
Injures
content I would-
himself
I'm
I
not
would
opposed to making that a
subscribe to.
very real series.
slowly. It wouldn't be very good content. It would be me in a field
It'd be
failing
great.
to do backflips
We-
over
Are you
Jack-
telling me that's
over
hold on,
again.
hold on. You said that would not be good content. I think that would be excellent content.
Bro said it would
love
not be
that.
good content and described the best content I could imagine.
Yeah. Let me rephrase that. I'm gonna get injured badly when
Yeah,
I try to do
got
this.
it.
Very, very bad.
Coming
Vega, don't
into
support them. It's a bad
commercial
idea.
Group B.
It
we
does
ju-
sound dangerous, Less Force. You're right.
We were just talking about these guys, but Flash for Damage into commercial Group B, Flash for Damage, Demonic Sombra, and their never-changing name, I hope. Now, of course, I've just jinxed next year, but that's fine.
I wish that Flash for Damage and Flash Set Ult were in the same group, but that's just me. I just want to get more
Are they
confused.
not? Where are they? Where's...
We got Group A, we got
Just
Group
pulling.
B. Now,
You know what's
John
funny?
Trump's happy about it.
It's
Where
in front of me,
wanna
and
go.
I know, but I'm just throwing them in a different pile,
That's fair.
which is indicative of my life. It kind of is like an
Fight again.
avalanche, which is what I just pulled for commercial.
All right, Jack. How do you spell
Group
avalanche?
C.
We messed this up last season.
Starts with an
Hold
A.
on. Oh,
It does start with an A. Jackie Boys.
this is my guess. I put my guess out there. That was just, I didn't try to spell check myself or anything.
It's like avalanche, isn't it?
Avalanche.
Oh,
Avalanche. Let's chance an
Avalanche.
avalanche.
Avian.
Back.
Was
back
that right?
To Group A, and we've got another good name. Group A's got some good names. I like Team Backflip. Now we've got Homies United. Homies
Nice.
United, a front of homies, which
Homies
really
United,
is what the
indeed.
LBLCS is. Just a front of homies. Commercial Group B coming in. Suboptimal Gaming. Suboptimal Gaming into Commercial Group B. That's Make's buddies. I like Make.
Oh,
I
yeah?
like Make. Is Make
Nice.
playing on that team yet, or is he still too goddamn
Makes us chill as
good?
hell.
I think he's trying to play this season.
Hell yeah. Can't wait to lose to him in lane. That's gonna feel great. Guys, and listen, if you're playing against that team and Makes is in, you can save yourself 2 hours and you can just quit. Like you can just FF, right? I'm just saying. Just saying. Dogs That Bark is the next one I pulled. So we're on Group C now, I think. Group C now. Dogs That Bark, which is pretty good name. I like that name.
Quality name.
Works
Dogs
really well
do-
with the
dogs
most
do
recent
indeed
champion.
bark.
They do bark.
My dogs don't, but you know, dogs theoretically bark.
Well, I've got 3 left. Is that correct?
That's correct. Nice new shades there, La Chance.
What? I have these other shades as well. The only 2 shades.
Going in Group A, the final in Group A, Cuddly League Guys. Cuddly League Guys.
Great name.
Good name.
Excellent name. Great vibes.
Going into Commercial Group B, Sector 7. Sector 7 is going, which just means that our last buds are COG Tycoon going into Group C. COG Tycoon. And that's a wrap.
And that's all right.
That's commercial,
that.
baby.
Ooh, the world is brighter with these glasses off.
I need to look at that.
In the
visually
world, in
now,
my
but
world,
I
is a
gotta-
little
Yeah,
bit brighter,
I'm
being
not
able to
look
see
at
into
the
those
screen
sweet,
at all.
sweet
Oh,
eyes.
man, yeah, it's
Oh, shucks. That's a nice mic, by the way. That's sick.
It's not bad.
I want like I want
gonna hold our mics? Yeah.
Stand.
Oh, yeah.
Mic stand.
I gotta do this. All right,
I'm
everybody,
not at
turn your
my
gain
full
up.
setup,
all the way.
unfortunately. So I have one at home, but
Do you mean like a big one? I might have one in another room that's an extra. Do you want a mic
Like
stand?
you got like a big one? I'd love a mic stand.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I used to use it until I realized that it's embarrassing for me to use it because it has to be at the lowest possible setting the entire time for me. So it wasn't really helpful. And then I could have just I do what I do now. I just put it right in
Listen,
my thing.
Vega casts standing up, and I want to give that a go. I want to be able to get some action, moving
Yeah.
around.
I'm
So that's
all about that. Vega also, this is a good segue too, because Vega also has a brand new algorithm he's going to mention pretty soon.
I'm curious about this algorithm.
I'm also curious about the algorithm.
Yeah, I am very curious about the algorithm. I'm very hyped for it. It definitely was important. Definitely was important last time. So I want to make sure that it puts me in either dead last or first place. I don't want to be mediocre in commercial. That's my wish for my own team.
We're gonna see what happens.
I think Jackie Boy's already got me pretty low with that remark. We're gonna see what happens. Thanks, bud. All right. Yeah. But I'll go last in Group B. That's what Sammy's saying. Thanks, Sammy.
Thanks, Sammy. Your
thanks, Sammy.
contributions are always valued. valued.
I think you guys are diving into the booth in a little bit, though, right? I don't
I
want
believe we are indeed diving into the booth. I am going to swap over the stream real quick, so if everybody could just go ahead and sit tight, we're gonna say goodbye to these three handsome faces.
Buckle
And
yourselves
Oh wait,
in.
hold on. I'm gonna introduce one of the booth members. Shout out Lest Force
Okay.
for
Wow.
gaining LP from yesterday, and
Wow.
then not playing without me, and then losing LP and going back to 0. So there you go.
how
Lest
many
Force.
games did you lose at E40 LP?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Let's talk about that because you posted it. And I'm
yes, yes.
We're going to talk about it. Everybody go to highlight
So
plays
I
in LBLCS.
living proof that you can lose 10 straight games on 0 LP, and your MMR won't be that bad.
Oh,
It's not
there you
that
go.
bad.
There you
I'm
go.
plus minus 25 still, but 10 straight. It's a new thing.
You sound like a solid admin team now to me. Don't know what to say other than that.
Yeah. That's
Once you
that-
become an
that's
admin, your league abilities take.
Plummet. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
no
all
one
right.
saw that to Ruffian yet.
That's true.
Or recently promoted admin. Hopefully for Jack's sake, hopefully his league skills don't diminish.
Oh no.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
Let's say goodbye to these faces. Within a minute, you'll be hearing from the boothers, and it'll be looking like a booth moment. So I'm going to go to our countdown screen in a second. Gentlemen, thank you all very much for drawing these names out of a bowl, for looking handsome in the glasses, the sunnies, the shades.
Basically all the things I'm good at. Thank you.
Yeah, I
that's
mean, like,
my whole game.
we people think we run the league. We just sit here and look good, and then yeah.
All right.
That's all.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and mute everything real quick, swap over to the other call, and we'll see you guys in a second. Bye-bye.
What?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on back to the booth as I'm trying to shut up my co-hosts here from talking while I'm trying to introduce everything. We're going to go ahead and go through these brackets, and we're going to figure out how to arrange these teams in a way that makes sense. So let me go ahead and push us over to Spotlight, which should have everything up in a way that I can do, and then this should have auto-populated with all of the team names, and it did, which is awesome. Very nice. Okay. So, gentlemen, what are your first reactions to this whole draw show happening, and how are we feeling about it?
I think there were too many handsome individuals on that draw show. There were 4 incredibly handsome gentlemen. There was not enough, what's the word? A ratio balancing it out. That's my first thought. First and only thought, actually.
It's very hard to pay attention to the content with so many handsome men on camera.
Well, that's why we have little like profile pictures here, is because it would be too much. It would be too much. So you guys want to start with commercial? You guys want to start with financial? How do we want to do this?
I mean, I would save the best for last, and since we're all in financial, I say we
Okay.
save commercial for last result.
Are all of our teams in the same group? Me, Val, and West Force are all in the
actually,
same
yeah, I
group.
think
Val,
almost
what,
all
of us.
That's beautiful.
Vega, what's your team?
Yeah.
I'm in commercial. My team I coach is in commercial.
Oh shit. All right.
But that's fine. I'm coaching. I'm not playing. I don't have any skin in this. Ultimately, if they mess up, it's their fault.
sure? the coach excuse. What?
Yeah, and I'm not there.
play for
playing,
'em.
So, yeah.
I don't have any tabs open on Google. What are you guys talking about on there? Anyway, so we can go. So you guys want to just go group commercial ABC, financial AB, and then we can go ahead and call it. How's that sound?
Sure, that works for me.
Yeah.
So if you guys are looking at the stream, you guys can go ahead and see that up I have the commercial group A. I have the whole pool of the teams which are in group A, so we can quickly refer to them. And wow, I totally lost my train of thought. I guess we'll start putting those together. So any teams jump out as an immediate number 1, or if you're feeling real hatery, an immediate number 10.
I mean, I think it's pretty easy with Group A. I think you have to start with the champions of last season, High Alert. I think they probably have to slide in number 1. I mean, they're a super strong roster, running the same group of 5 back. I get recent champs. The bot lane is super strong of Ghost and Kiale, and I think that the top side got a lot better as the season went along. Obviously, I watched a lot of their games, and so I have a little bit to say about them, but I think they're really good.
Yeah, the algorithm confirms the High Alert number 1 in Group A. And I'll give a brief explanation on what I changed with the algorithm, so we don't have to do it in the middle. So what I did was I reweighted kind of last season's ranks to this season's ranked. I removed CS per minute because I feel like it's just kind of like a weird score. I added a weighted thing from 5 to 8 or 4 to 8 based on how that team did last season. So like an organizational strength score. So 4 for if you're in the league, 5 if you made playoffs, 6 if you made semis, 7 if you made finals, 8 if you won the league. And it just auto applies that to every player on the team if they're in an org that is historically good. So High Alert obviously got a big buff in addition to having highly rated players. So yeah, High Alert, higher ranked. And I hope that kind of tweaks it out a little bit for some of the ones last episode. Or orgs that were good, weren't really accounted for. So hopefully that helps kind of balance it out.
So you added some more noise to the algorithm
Yes.
that hopefully pushes it towards accuracy a little bit more.
Makes it easier to defend too, because then I can be like, well, they used to, this org's been good mathematically.
Just further pushes the blame away from you if things go awry.
Exactly. Like, how could we have known
There's a lot of
historically? Yeah.
Any
You know-
contenders to go like Val? Are you feeling like you want to go against the grain here and diss High Alert a little bit here? Recent champs.
Yeah, actually, I don't have High Alert as my number 1. I have Team Backflip. I looked over the roster a few times. I think on paper, I think Team Backflip has the potential to be the best team in this group. Which is saying a lot considering you have, I think, the three teams that I considered for number 1, High Alert, Triferix, and Homies United. But above all, I just felt like Team Backflip has a lot of players who could go on to have maybe MVP level seasons.
So how are the other two smart people on this podcast? So that would be Vega and Less Force, just to make sure everybody's aware of who's got the brains and who's got the. I don't know. You couldn't really call it brawn. Oh, babe. Vega and Less Force, how do you guys feel about a top 3, just generally, regardless of order, of Team Backflip, High Alert, and Triferix Normal?
That's what I have. Actually, that's exactly what algorithm spit out for me. It had High Alert, Triferix, and then Team Backflip as 3rd. I did do kind of like a grouping, though, of who I thought was like high confidence, mid confidence, low confidence in the rating. And Team Backflip just hit that mid confidence as the 3rd team, where it was like, yeah, possibly like a team that I think, I think they will make playoffs for sure. Could punch up, but I wouldn't call them necessarily favorites outright. But yeah, I think that top 3 makes sense to me.
Now, does anyone,
Yeah.
because we just mentioned playoffs, does anyone know how playoffs is going to work? Is it going to be top 6 and then wild cards from the
It
7 and
is
8?
gonna be the same as last season with the top 5 in each group getting in, and then the highest overall team after that between all the 3 groups gets a wild card spot. So 16 of the 30 will get to playoffs.
Okay, hang on. So you just said the top 5. Oh, the
Mm-hmm.
highest ranked teams all play in contention for the wild card spot. One of those 3 teams gets the wild card spot.
Yeah, so of the fifth, so the top 5 in each group get in, and then from the bottom 5 in each of the 3 groups, whoever has the best record gets the wild card.
Delicious.
Mm-hmm.
So, the algorithm agrees, at least with the top 3, even if not the order. Less Force, are you saying you also agree with this top 3 over here, or did you have some other people sneaking on in there? Perhaps people with whom you may be familiar.
I think I'm generally fine with this as the top 3 to start. I think 2 of these teams are pretty pretty strong teams that are returning from last season. And then I also thought Backflip, who's a new addition to the league, looked pretty strong on paper. So yeah, I mean, I'm fine with this as the top 3 to start.
All right. Well, it seems like we're all generally in agreement. Let's go ahead and start shuffling in some more of these teams, then we can go ahead and get spicy about the order thereafter. So let's go one by one with who's got the team that's just shy of the podium. Vega, who's your 4th place?
I had Cuddly League guys.
Ooh.
I really like that roster. Even though it didn't have as much like historic precedence in it, I thought Panther and Big Chill looked really good on paper. So yeah, they were my just outside the podium for this group. Still
Okay.
playoff team.
Okay. And Less Force, do you agree, or do you have a new contender for 4th place?
Personally, my number 4 would be Homies United.
No,
I think
I'm
they've
with
got
him.
I think they've got a really strong pair of solo laners and a pretty competent AD carry. So I think having just strong solo lanes in commercial, at least to me, is a pretty big strength to have.
And Valentine, did I hear you say that you agreed with Less Force's analysis?
Hmm. I kind of looking over Homies United gave me a fair bit of confidence, kind of looking towards them. I have them as 3 with Triferix at 4, but I think those 2 are interchangeable. And kind of, I think they hold that spot pretty solidly. Their ceiling is probably among one of the highest in commercial.
Okie doke. So, to kind of round out using some votes, well, actually, Vega, defend your algorithm a little bit here. You're on the back foot, right? So, you got 2 people kind of arguing against you and putting Homies United up above Cuddly League guys. Dish out
I'll
some of that
say,
analysis.
I will say that I do have Homies United as my 5th place team, and they are 0.2 difference between the 2 of them. I think some of it, obviously, the algorithm takes into play subs. And I think if I look at starting 5, the solo laners for Homies United probably are 2 of the best solo laners that will be in Group A, at least punching outside of like, High Alert's roster, which obviously feels kind of head and shoulders above. I just felt like as like overall ranking across like a straight line across all 5 positions, I felt like Cuddly League guys was more solid, but I would not be against taking Homies United at 4.
All right.
They're both
So,
medium confidence teams for me, so
so it seems like we're in agreements. All right, let's go ahead and keep on going down, and then we'll get into some juicy discussion about maybe trying to finagle some of the order of these teams a little bit, and then we can keep it moving because we've got 4 more groups after this to go ahead through. So I'm gonna kind of keep it moving a little bit snappier than we did last week, since we've already been on the air for an hour. So let's go in reverse order then. Valentine, who are your 6th and 7th place teams?
My 6 and 7 are Homo Sapiens and TV Chaos. Um, I think kind of taking a look at Homo Sapiens roster, I wasn't. I think solid across the board is the word I'd put for it. No one really blew me off the page, but I really didn't have a reason to rank them any higher or any lower. And for TV Chaos, I think there's some awesome names on this roster. Some really, really strong players. That being said, I still kind of want to see what this team can do all together. So I'm interested to see how obviously they respond to just a wee bit of doubt.
All right. Well, there you go. Less
Yeah, I
force.
mean,
Jump in and start arguing or agreeing. Honestly, either way.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not the most exciting, but I was just gonna piggyback and say that would also probably be my 6-7. I think Homo Sapiens look pretty solid on paper. They're a new team to the league. In preparation, I for my write up, I've been reaching out to the captain trying to get some names, maybe keep an eye out for. And it was mentioned that that Lasermind should be the star of the squad for the Homo Sapiens in the mid lane. I think they'll be solid. I just kind of, again, new team, new to competitive play. You kind of want to see how they shake themselves out. And then as far as chaos, I'm sure this will come back and bite me that I, have one of my teams, down at 7. But this is a team that's kind of like come together very recently. The initial plan was to be an econ, and then when the points weren't quite working out, made it to commercial with some different players. I mean, the argument I had for Homies United should be pretty much the same here, as Rap Jr. and that boy Truth were both first team in commercial Group B last season. They are some of the strongest solo laners, probably in all of commercial. But again, it just comes down to seeing some new pieces get slotted in the jungle and support that haven't played competitive. At least I know for support, this will be his first time playing competitive League of Legends, and so I just need to see them out on the Rift once they've gotten some time to play with each other before I could get them too much higher.
Well, that makes sense. And I guess for the uninitiated, Lest Force, who is just talking, is the owner of Team Volatility, and I, who am now talking, if you couldn't piece that one together, am the owner of Panther Core. So when we discuss those teams, we're going to be completely and totally unbiased. Vega, kind of following up your compatriots, does the algorithm, and thereby do you, agree or disagree with the 6 and 7 of Homo Sapiens and Team Volatility Chaos with a K?
I agree with the teams, not the order. I had TVK in 6 and Homo Sapiens in 7. TVK gets helped a lot by the org score. Team Volatility, obviously, a very known org. I think infrastructure matters a lot here, so not necessarily that the rankings may not be exactly the same, but I do believe that the infrastructure and coaching will be good. So I've got TVK at 6 and Homo Sapiens at 7. Homo Sapiens is more of I see the pieces that could be a good team, but I don't know enough yet to bank on if that's going to work out in a team environment and things like that. I know both solo laners were very good last year, or last split, but I need to see it as a whole. I have a little bit more faith in TVK's structure right now.
And when you hear that TVK is the insider information that TVK is a little bit more recent and maybe hasn't had as much time to congeal, does that affect your ranking?
Not really. We still got a couple weeks to go, and I think a lot of the teams, majority of teams outside of like High Alert and things like that, are going to have new players. They're going to be playing together, and I think that orgs that have structure, even with less time, have more productive practice and more systems in place to help players get used to playing each other. Whereas if 5 guys join a team together, even if they've been playing together for longer, it doesn't necessarily mean you're having productive practice and actually improving. But that doesn't mean that Homo Sapiens isn't. It just means that I don't know or have a baseline to believe that by yet. So TVK right now would be higher for me. I'm not trying to win brownie points with less force here, but right now, yeah, I would have them higher.
Might not be trying,
Yes.
but certainly doing.
Today, I will win brownie points by ranking Less Force team in the bottom half of the group.
There's something for everyone. So I guess we're gonna start in the middle now, and then I guess I'll just flip a coin to see which way we go. Less Force, can you finish out the 8, 9, 10 of the bracket here?
If I'm putting these last 3 in order, I think I would go Simian Surfers at 8, Flash Settle at 9, and Serenity insert name at the 10 spot.
I agree.
Very
with
much.
2 of those. I agree, like, spot on with 2 of those. My 9 is someone very different. but I do like Simian Surfers. Um, if Homies United has like the most clear top team potential, I can say pretty confidently there is something about Simian Surfers that I think could really force them, and it is going to be if Poro is still the person I teamed with a very long time ago. I think that team could easily just leapfrog a bunch of teams randomly just through the uniqueness, through the creativity in draft, through the creativity in how the game should be played. That team can definitely throw a few weird left hooks, right punches to really place himself somewhere that we didn't expect.
So you really have kind of Simian Surfers as like a dark horse wildcard
That's
team
my
that
horse.
could like really that you're like the wild horse dark team, where you're like
Yep,
I think
exactly.
these guys could kind of start leaping head and shoulders above kind of what ranks or history might otherwise suggest, just simply out of the ingenuity of the team. Okay, that sounds like a pretty fantastic analysis. Vega, can the algorithm follow that up?
Yeah, I mean, the only weird difference we had was we had Simeon Surfers in ninth, as opposed to Flash Adult being in eighth. But they were barely off of each other at all. It's point six. I won't tell the first number, but 0.63 to 0.64. So very little difference across there. But overall, I really agree. All three of these were low confidence scores for me, and that's just because there wasn't a lot of data. So for what I did pull in, either like there was like a gap in like ranked history play on the player or something like that, where I couldn't really give like a confident score in these. So even though they may fall to the bottom of like the ranking here, it's not necessarily indicative of what I believe their potential is. Similar, I think Simeon Surfers, when I just looked at their roster like manually, when I just looked over it, I was like, I could see bright spots here. I can see potential for this team to do well. Same with Flash Settle. And just so they don't feel bad, Serenity insert name. Flash Settle, actually, I did rate them eighth, but they were my dark horse team for this group that I believe were most likely to punch up and get into the middle of the pack there. I really like that roster. Also, they have a really good name. And also, I do have it on good authority that their top laner did not play set when they made their name and has now been practicing set so that they can use it.
Well,
Yeah.
you gotta
That's
kind
gonna
of
get banned.
get into you gotta get into character on that one. I mean, that's why I
I know.
never mind. Um, so it seems like we're generally in like pretty good agreement. So kind of taking a look at the bracket as it stands with Team Backflip, Hyler, and Triferix Normal taking the top three, Homies United, Cuddly League guys, Homo Simpians, and TV Chaos sitting in that middle of the pack there. And then Simian Surfers, FSU, and Serenity insert name kind of rounding out the bottom of the bracket with a lot of potential to start punching upwards. Is there any team that, to you, any of you, seems pretty out of place, or do you think we've locked it down? We should progress on through the alphabet.
Um, well,
You
How's
have
Hyler
thoughts,
not
don't
first?
you? Okay. You,
How's Hyler not first?
I think I agree with Vega here. You know, I think
How's Hyler not? They're 2 points above the second place team on the algorithm.
okay. Valentine, you were the one who were a little bit lower on them.
They just won.
Get your argument ready there, Val.
I have there's certain traits in teams that I like to see, especially between champions and not especially reigning champs, right? If you were coming off of a winning season and I
You think
if
there's
you're
going to be
coming off
some
of a winning
regression to
season,
the mean?
I think there's going to be a lot of overestimation. I think
Okay.
High Alert was a underdog team, had the miracle run, made a huge kind of space, and had a great run. But I think there is a very high from there's a very high chance that they may drop
Okay.
a few more games than expected just due to hubris.
So
Hubris.
Okay.
Jump
I
in, Less
will
Force.
say some insider info about High Alert. These guys have been religiously scrimming in the past couple weeks. They're trying to hit the gauntlet of every commercial team this season. I think that they really enjoyed the high of winning the championship, and they want to keep that continuing. So I know that they have scrimmed both Team Volatility rosters, Misfits and Cog Tycoon, I believe the name is, and combined, I believe that they were 12-1 or 11-1 across all the scrims. So they are playing quite well at the moment and are in full gear heading into the season.
Okay. Well, Val, you're outnumbered here 2-1, so I think we're gonna place High
It
Alert
seems-
above Team Backflip, and it seems like this is going to be our kind of final say on the predictions for Commercial Group A. Ooh, a rhyme. I didn't plan that, I promise. All right, let's go ahead on down to B, and we can go ahead and get this one out of the way real quick. S11S02. Okay, cool. So we've got 9 more teams to rank here. So who did I start with last time? I started with Vega for the number 1. Okay, so Valentine, now you're going to have to go with your number 1 first, and then we'll progress to Less Force and Vega thereafter.
It's suboptimal gaming, guys. I don't. Personal opinion, I think they had, obviously, voting into different and how teams got voted, or how the all league teams got voted into different. Dreamy, every single game that suboptimal gaming played last season, Dreamy was arguably head and shoulders, even in the series that they ended up losing, in the series, I guess plural. You had the Ari pentakill in game 2 of their playoffs game, and then a really strong game 1. Add on to the fact that they added a commercial champion to their roster. They added Makes alongside just a roster that I feel like top to bottom was already so strong and one of the best ones in economy. Like suboptimal, I am super excited to see because I think they might have the 2 best solo lanes in all of commercial.
All right, that's a pretty strong argument. I'm going to quickly jump in real quick to say Ice King YT, I assume that's YouTube. Ice King YouTube, we are currently doing a power rankings predictions for what the groups are going to look like, the standings are going to look like rather, at the end of this upcoming season of the low budget LCS. We are a competitive but amateur, no stakes, for fun, completely free league. Where you can join a team, start a team. That's what I did. And now we're a menace, and you can go ahead and play with a bunch of newfound friends and maybe some newfound enemies as well, like this guy named Less Force, who steals your players and then just makes teams. So go ahead and there's a Discord link down below that you can go ahead and join and find that. And also I use OBS, and there's some VTuber software that I use to make our profile pictures light up, which I'm quite embarrassed about. But hey, the VTubers did okay with that one. So anyways, back to the show. Less Force. Who is your number 1?
I have also been agreeing with Val a lot here. It seems. I also think suboptimal is the best at this group. Looking at it, very good point in the chat. They do have some fire jerseys. I remember seeing them make a post in community sometime earlier this year, showing off the jerseys. Pretty fire, pretty good logo. And yeah, not to regurgitate too much of what Val already said. This team looks really, really strong on paper, and should do pretty well here in commercial.
All right. Well, Vega.
I don't want
Jump
to
on
be
in.
boring, but yeah, suboptimal.
Oh wow.
Even outside of like they were first place in the algorithm ratings, but also just as a personal eye test and having talked to people, even if they hadn't have come out first in the algorithm, I think I would have gone against the machine on this one and said, like, I do believe that suboptimal just is, at least right now on paper, and at least
Wow.
from what I hear from people in scrims and stuff like that, that they're very good. Sorry, Cryptic, crying in chat because, I coach Silent Assassins. I'm not putting them first. I watch your scrims, buddy.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
That's
look, they're just,
brutal.
we got time. We have time, Yeah, so I just think suboptimal is number one right now.
gonna be a rough call after this. And
So-
Silent Assassin server.
So
Do you
suboptimal
believe
gaming.
they have a better coach?
Suboptimal gaming was enough to make you, even before the algorithm spit out an answer, doubt the algorithm and just say, like, whatever the algorithm says, I don't care. Everybody's playing for second. It seems like that tends to be like where we're placing suboptimal gaming.
Well, yeah, but then the algorithm said it anyway, so I was just wrong to doubt
True.
it.
True. So, if anything, what teams could start to contend up there in the second and third places with suboptimal gaming? We're going to start in the middle with Less Force.
I think that another econ team making their way up, Sector 7, looks pretty strong on paper. I think Misfits had a really good start to last season before they tapered out in playoffs, but that would probably be like my 2-3. And I think I'd go in that order as well. Sector 7 and then the Misfits.
Is it the Misfits? And I've been typing it
It is
wrong.
the Misfits, yeah.
I was gonna say that's the band. If
The sheet I was
Oh,
looking at
the
said the
Misfits.
Misfits, but it could
Yeah,
could
they're
be,
the Misfits.
that's what I have.
That's also what I have.
Okay.
one and the same.
And Ice King, there are 4 different leagues across multiple skill levels. So right now we're doing a commercial league, which is about what like last split would have been gold, like gold-ish kind of average.
Yeah.
I guess now that's a plat average. And there's 30 teams in this group. There are 16 teams in the group we're going to do just after this one. That's the financial league, which would be formerly like plat, and now like what, emerald, an emerald league. And then
Flat Emerald.
if you go ahead and check the previous episode, we ranked the economy league, which is like the IBS kind of league, the irritable bowel syndrome league, and then the executive, which is kind of like the top tier, apex tier league of diamond and above. And we ranked those teams as well. If you want to go ahead and check that, it's also on YouTube. Moving back onto the show, Valentine, are you going to go ahead and start contending against Lest Force's Sector 7 and the Misfits analyses?
So my below suboptimal gaming tier is 3 teams. In order from 2 to 4 would be the Misfits, Stop, Drux, and Roll, then Sector 7. And my main thing is just I think I was probably one of Sector 7's biggest shills last season. And I think they're gonna. I think their roster will probably translate the best of all the econ teams that moved up. Just because I feel like they have players who have punched above their weight, players that have consistently proven that they can compete in econ without really any trouble. Random Brute, Sona, and Timotree all have had multiple seasons in econ, being very good at their roles, and I think Misfits are the Misfits. They're consistent. They've been good usually every season. Good, never really bad. And Stop, Drox, and Roll, despite the admin curse, should be decent. And above one of the best. Assuming everything goes according to plan.
So, in general, the same kind of vibes of Sector 7, the Misfits, and Stop, Drox, and Roll, which is a great team name. Okay, Vega, tell us what the computer says.
Sector 7 is second for me. I actually just think that Stardust Farmer is just a sick mid laner. And based on what I've seen and heard from like scrims and stuff like that, that guy's insane. And I think Sector 7, kind of as Val said, like coming up from economy, they were one of the teams that was really good and kind of had a good blueprint for that I think would transfer to commercial. But for my number 3, I had Silent Assassins. Mostly because like I know that they've role swapped a bunch of people and have some new pieces this season. And I will say part of this is a confidence level. So I started coaching them the week before playoffs last year, and they got in as a last seed. 3-0 quarterfinals, made it to semis and lost. And now that I've had like a whole off season with them and stuff like that, I'm a lot more confident in where they are now as to where they were last season. So even though the algorithm did put them in, third themselves, I did not move them for my own personal thing. Yeah, I think that I'll be honest that I don't think they're quite yet on the tier of suboptimal Sector 7. I think Sector 7 is probably the biggest threat to suboptimal right now. I do believe by end of season they can be in that tier. And same for teams right below that.
All right, so kind of adding in your own little flavor of Silent Assassins here. I guess this kind of brings up maybe a fun little point of contention. Less Force and then Valentine, where do you guys have Silent Assassins on your rankings?
Yeah, where do you have them before we do financial?
Is number 1 an option? No, I think 4 is pretty appropriate for the Silent Assassins. I think, like you said, they had a solid showing in playoffs last season when sneaking right in. I believe there's a player now for you guys that was like a coach or like Keiji, I think. I think I was talking with
Kaiji?
Cryptic. Yeah, Kaiji. I was talking with Cryptic, and he said how like he's excited that he's gonna be able to start playing and should be a really really strong point for the team. I think it looks like a pretty strong roster. This group in general is just like a lot of good teams from Econ last season, just getting bumped up. So it should be pretty exciting. I think 4 is a pretty good spot for the Silent Assassins.
I have them at 6.
Oh
Behind
boy.
Goons Incorporated at 5. That being said, assuming that the bot lane is still Kaiji and Cryptic, I think they'll probably be either the best or the second best bot lane in the group, maybe third best. But I want to see what top jungle looks like. I want to see how those two match up, because I think that'll be the most dangerous part of the map in the entire group. Because I think some of the best top laners in commercial got slotted in here, and some of the best top laners from Econ got also slotted in here. So I think there are some really interesting matchups they're gonna have, and I think only time will tell if I am right or wrong.
Okay, Vega, you have a response?
I'm not hurt. Actually, that was okay. I was scared someone was going to be like 8th, 9th, and so I thought. Also, I hate to tell Val, but our bot lane's not the same, and we do have a new jungler. But I think our bot lane now, not that our bot lane last split wasn't better, but I think I think our bot lane. I'm just going to say it. I think our bot lane now is better. I think pretty much we've upgraded across the board.
There's a cat behind you, Vega. I know the stream can't see it, but I can, so I'm happy.
We just got a new kitten also.
Did you really?
That is somewhere in the house. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll try and find her in a minute.
All right. All right. So this top 6 here, the top 2/3 of the group. Is there anybody who has a team that's in their top 6 that's not on the rankings thus far?
I mean, I will just say that I think it's a little tough having Stop Drox and Roll so high. I think I was talking with Buggle a little bit. The way you beat this team is quite literally in the team name. You stop Drox and you roll to victory. I don't know. I think that maybe I would have them below like the Goons, and I guess I'll also mention the Serenity Bad Boy Clubs tier, but right in that cusp for like a wild card spot.
So you're now introducing Serenity Bad Boys Club into the mix. I feel like that's a good opportunity to ask Vega and then Val, where the algorithm and then the Valgorithm have placed Serenity BBC.
Trademark.
All right.
Serenity BBC was in 7th for me, but it was a low confidence score, just because, guys, I did 30 teams yesterday, and I'll admit to you that some of them got a little less effort than others entering data, so they got a low confidence score for me. Not that I don't think that they could be in there. But weirdly for me, I had Twimpus Flame way higher. I had Twimpus Flame in 5th.
Oh wow.
Maybe because like I scrimmed them so much that I had like an opinion of them, but yeah, that's the only big difference I had.
Valentine, do you
Also,
have
I
a
like their
response?
name.
I mean, if we're talking about Serenity Bad Boys Club, I have them below Flash for Damage at the moment. Um, I think they took a big hit losing that boy Truth. Um, a hit that I'm not sure if I had to take out the mid laners from some of Commercial's best teams, um, I would they probably wouldn't be around that level, that same level. Um, so I think it will be really interesting. I have Flash for Damage higher. Maybe it's just because I have a personal opinion of I played against them a bunch, but I also think they could not have gotten a better group. Um, because a lot of these teams, they proved they were the best team econ, and now a bunch of really good econ teams have joined them in their group. So I think with the kind of obviously with how rank distribution has leveled out, you have sort of the skill height of commercial kind of shrinking down. Um, I think Flash for Damage is my dark horse for the group. They could really cause some issues for the teams we've placed near the top.
Yeah. So you're saying that like since group like commercial group B seems to be a ton of econ graduates from last season,
Mm-hmm.
and Flash for Damage has already proven themselves in economy very strongly, then they should,
Mm-hmm.
in theory, transitive power of equality or whatever they're called, transitive property of equality or
Mm-hmm.
something. I did not do math. I did psychology, uh, for a good reason. Should in theory be a lot higher. Where did you end up having them? Because currently we have them in last place at 9th.
Um, mm, I have Flash for Damage at 7. I have Olympus Flame at 9.
Oh boy. So the am I correct in that it was the algorithm that put Tempest Flame up there?
Yeah, which to be fair, it doesn't take into account like makeup of the group, right? It just takes into a vacuum, like looking at the team, what I think it would be. And SNC obviously does get a buff for being, a storied org that has existed for a while. So SNC gets a buff there, whereas Flash for Damage would not as much. But I don't know. I mean, I guess I agree with Val on the point that Flash for Damage should be higher, considering there's a bunch of econ teams in there. I didn't really, obviously, I made it before the groups were made. So in a vacuum, looking at other commercial teams, I was like, well, I don't know if necessarily winning econ makes you, good enough to win commercial. But I could see the argument for putting them higher.
Less Force, do you have some tiebreaker opinions here on where we're going to put Flash for Damage?
I think Flash for Damage was a solid squad last season. I think that they had a solid showing in Group A, and then unfortunately they ran into the best team that didn't win in TVA in the first round of the playoffs. I think it's largely the same roster coming back this season, and there is something to be said with having that continuity and continuing to build up that synergy over time. Personally, I would probably look to have Flash for Damage above SNC as well. I think my issue with SNC is that they have, I think it's several different players on the roster. If I remember when I had DM'd
Mm-hmm.
Explosive, I think that there's been like some of the starters from last season's roster stuck behind Econ, and then others came up to commercial and they brought in new players. So even though they like, I mentioned it last week when we were talking about Nightmare Phoenix, or I guess now they're the Mighty Pandas, how like scrimming and
Mm-hmm.
that type of culture is good. It's also just like a
Mm-hmm.
different squad now in commercial, and with that jump up, I just want to see them do it before I put them too high. I guess would be my my stance on SNC, but not hate. I still I think all these teams can be pretty competitive, but someone has to go in that last spot at ninth.
All right. Well, the algorithm has been hotly contested. So with this kind of power ranking of these complete 9 teams, we've got Suboptimal Gaming, Sector 7, and The Misfits taking the podium on the 1, 2, 3. We've got Silent Assassins, Goons Incorporated, and Stop, Drox, and Roll in the middle, and then Serenity BBC, Snack Tempest Flame. I did not like saying that. And then Flash for Damage filling in last at ninth. Any immediate, objections to this power ranking before we keep going on down the alphabet?
I think my only main thing is that I am very, very, very skeptical of Twimpus Flame. I think when you lose the jungler, you lose the mid laner, and you lose the support, and kind of try to build something new off of that. I think Zanja Dreda and Amanda the Panda, I don't know who exactly is starting, but one of them is. Whoever takes over ADC, I think will probably be a good choice, and obviously have explosive in the top lane. I'm just very interested to see kind of how things shake out, because I think they got a group that is both easy and difficult. You have a lot of teams who can kind of maybe understand their game plan between Silent Assassins. Silent Assassins don't play them, but scrim them a lot, right? Suboptimal Gaming, Sector 7, and Triferic Souls, or all
What was that last team you said? I don't
kind
recognize
of
that name.
I kind of left me for a second. I'm trying to think. I think the last one I said was Silent Assassins, because I know Vega, you mentioned scrimming them a lot, right?
Yeah, we have in the past. And I think their new roster, like, I'll say it's tough to ever read into, like, if a team's like trying to practice something or if they're actually playing like to win a scrim. But I'll say at least versus like some of the other teams who scrimmed, they felt at least like decent. They didn't jump out as like usually if we play a scrim against somebody and it feels like we walk over them, we don't try to schedule scrims with them again, because honestly, teams that are better than you are usually better for scrim partners because they expose more of like what's wrong. And they at least punished us on certain things, so I felt like at least they had at least an identity as a team when we played them, so that puts them at least some confidence for me.
All right. Well, it seems like we've got some agreement, some not agreement here. We've got a first-time chat from Destruct1337 for the win. What happened to Triferic Souls? I don't know who. Do you guys recognize that? Who's that?
I don't have that on my list.
I don't have that on my list
We
either.
went over them in Group A.
No, that was Triferic's
Yeah,
normal.
yeah, Triferic's.
That was Triferic's
Triferics
normal.
2, Electric Boogaloo. Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't recognize that. Let's go on to Group C here. Who did I start with? I've started with Vega. I've started with Val. So, Les Force, go ahead and give us your number one spot for Commercial Group C.
I mean, I think that it just has to be said. I think Team Volatility Arcana is in the one spot here in Group C. I don't know if the algorithm agrees with me or not, but I think that this is a tough group. I think there are several like teams that are like right at the cap or right below it, but I think Arcana should be the one in this group.
Okay, the intra-org faith is delectable here. Vega made a face as soon as you asked about the algorithm, so I'm going to Vega next. Where did?
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, Team Volatility Arcana was number one on the algorithm.
Oh.
And I will say it was a single point complete difference between them and the second place team.
Wow.
To the algorithm.
And that according to your, like, in the general scheme of your algorithm, is actually quite a large gap.
Yeah, normally there's not a huge gap between teams. Normally at most you see like a 0.15 or something like that between teams, unless like a certain team is very high above or something like that. One thing we see, and I'll let people know that when the algorithm spits you out low, sometimes it's because some of your subs are lower ranked or something like that, and it does take into account subs. So like if you had a team of all plats and then a bronze sub, like that would obviously drag your rating a little bit. I did try to manually fix some of those though in this, where I would see like, oh, okay, very obviously this person bottom of the roster list probably not going to play. I'll remove it out of the equation. But with 30 teams, so it's a little bit hard to do with all of them. So heads up if your team's in 10th place and you have a bronze sub, just heads up that might be why.
Okay.
Yeah, but I had team volatility in first. I think I helped a lot also by their org ranking. But overall, I thought players looked good on this roster. They passed the eye test, and somebody who I have very near and dear to my heart is involved with them. So
All right. Valentine, who is your number one spot? Are you going to disagree with the algorithm and with the org owner? Shaking their head no.
Arcana is the best team in this group. I mean, there's a lot of places you can look to kind of back this. I think you have Uwufi in the jungle, you have GGG, you have Guguga Turtle, the unkillable Guguga Turtle, who I don't know if he's playing top or ADC, but I think either of the roles he'd be able to compete very well in and camped is quickly becoming a well-known commercial support and one of the better ones. So I think it's really hard to kind of just say anything about this team that isn't positive. You've got a strong infrastructure, you've got strong players, and I think even sub-wise they go pretty deep. So I think it'll be very interesting to see how their season plays out, because predictions and how the season goes are different things. But I have to ask Vega, I'm curious, is the algorithm's number 2 team Infinity Edgelords?
no,
Oh.
but
Oh,
I was going to say that they are higher than. I mean, when I didn't know their name, I hadn't heard of them. So when I put them in, I was like, I'm not touching this group at all because of where they.
So where did the algorithm spit them out?
They're third. Panther Core Sentinels is second, and Infinity Edgelords is third, according to the algorithm.
That's a ranking.
I was
can
like,
get
when I
behind.
saw it, I was like, oh, that's awesome.
So, Less Force, there's an argument between Infinity Edgelords for number 2 or number 3. Where do you have them? Are you going to add a vote to an extant tally, or are you going to disagree entirely?
I would disagree entirely and bring a new team into the mix, and that would be Avalanche. When looking at, I guess we can start with the Edgelords. I think it comes down to this is a team that we saw last season. I think it's the entire same group of starting players. Didn't have a great season in commercial. They're running it back, maybe doing some role swaps, and so I think having them around like the 4 to 6 range would probably be where I would feel comfortable with the Edgelords. But again, when we last saw this team, they had a bit of a rough go. Whereas Avalanche is running back the same 5 players, but they had a solid run in playoffs, and they've had that time to improve as a group. So that's where I'm giving that edge, and that logic kind of applies to the Sentinels as well. They didn't have a great season, and so that's just where I have Avalanche. We've recently seen them do pretty well. Maybe that's not the best argument to have, but I do think Full Metal, Crease, Miss the X was a really good support last season. So that's where I'm kind of putting my money in with this group.
So, you kind of mentioned the Sentinels as well. Did you also have them in the number 2 spot, or did you say you were going to put them lower?
No, I would put personally, I would have Avalanche at 2. I think like 3 to 6 would be that like group for the Sentinels and the Edgelords, as well as a couple other teams. I don't feel too strongly between like those two. It's like which one? Maybe I'd give like the slightest edge to the Edgelords actually over the Sentinels.
An edge to the Edgelords would probably be fitting.
Check out.
Yeah. So now that we've we've got 4 teams into the mix here, let's go ahead and have Val add 2 more teams, 5th and 6th place, before we kind of get the others to argue or agree. And Valentine is silent. The internet.
Oh man, I was gonna
go.
play along with the. Yeah, I agree.
So I have a confession. My top 4 looks vastly different.
Okay, hit us with it.
I have Arcana and Edgelords at 1 and 2. But instead of having Avalanche or Sentinels in my top 4, I have Avalanche 6, Sentinels at 8. And I have LA Tech Varsity at 3 and Detroit versus Everybody at 4. Whoa, are you kidding?
I have Detroit versus everybody at 4.
All right, cool. I'm
So
not
we're adding
completely insane for
two
this.
new teams into this mix here.
And I have Avalanche at 8.
Oh,
Algorithm does
there's
not
a
agree
lot
with
of.
me.
Yeah, but
Not
they're-
agree.
okay, I could look at how it decided that and say that they're probably better than where they're rated. But
Okay.
yeah, I was hyped because you said Detroit versus everybody 4. That was one of the teams I was like, well, the algorithm says they're this good.
I hope somebody else thinks that.
I was like, please,
Yeah,
someone else.
I don't know if anybody saw, obviously, the chatters didn't, but anybody in call saw my visual reaction to hearing that Lessforce had, that Vega had Sentinels at 2, like, sent a shock through my body, because that got me. That was unexpected.
Just, I will say, when I look across the groups, the overall average ranking for Group C for me is the lowest of all 3 groups. So the score that's first place in Group C. Okay, it would be second in Group A and B, so it's not that bad. It's not as bad as at first glance what I thought it was. First, volatility would be second in the other 2 groups, so it's not as bad as I thought it was, actually. Never mind.
So
Okay.
so you're saying that when the eventual playoff bracket does happen, you think that the Group C teams will be the underdogs towards any kind of Group A teams?
Yeah, but I feel like every season of the one other season that I've casted, there's just one group that randomly, they look on paper worse than other teams, but it's because they're beating up each other, all split. And then playoff comes, and every one of those teams has been in the hyperbolic time chamber, and they just go nuts in the playoff bracket and beat the other groups. So even though a lot of their scores in this one are lower, but I feel like it's a lot because there's a lot of teams in this one that I didn't have a lot of historical data on. Whereas some of the other groups I had data from economy coming up, or had teams like High Alert that had played or won previously. Whereas this group there's a couple teams at Panther Core Volatility, SNC that I had stuff on, but then some Infinity Edgelords and Barbecue Boys and stuff like that, where I was well, I'm kind of just going based on what your roster is. So it's hard to really say that they're lower. They don't get the modifier of having a historical name.
So the name carries a weight. It's kind of what you're suggesting here, and they just don't necessarily have that kind of modifier tweaking their score.
Which should be a boon to Infinity Edgelords, that even without that, they were third in the ranking in, this group, that even without me giving it, just purely putting them in, it was wow, okay, and, Detroit versus everybody, third and fourth in this.
So, Lessforce, where are you putting Detroit versus everybody?
In my mock, I had Detroit versus everybody at 3. I feel like this group is definitely the most contested. I feel like I think Detroit versus everybody looked pretty solid on paper from what I could tell. In talking with the captain, this is a team that's played a decent bit together as a squad. They had a cool backstory, meeting at a former gaming cafe, and so they played together. They know how to win as a squad. And I personally just liked what I saw on paper, even though the points didn't necessarily suggest that they were the best team in this group. And I think it's kind of a theme, whereas I have teams like the Edgelords and the Sentinels a little lower than the points would suggest they should be. But I liked what I saw from Detroit versus everybody.
All right. Well, it seems like we have a pretty good addition here to our rankings up at the kind of upper echelons with Detroit versus everybody. Let's keep it moving on down the line just in the sake of time. So 7 and 8, we'll start with Vega and then kind of keep moving along.
7 and 8, I have SNC Dreaded Dawn and Dogs That Bark. I just want to give a shout out to Dogs That Bark as someone who cast. Dogs That Bark is a great name for a lot of wordplay, and so I like that a lot. SNC Dreaded Dawn is a team that I felt like. So in my power rankings, from 2 down to 7, there's at most a 1.3 variance. So that's from second place to 7th place. So a lot of these are kind of in a mauve, pretty similar, is like close. I thought that SNC Dreaded Dawn, I like their roster okay, and SNC's an org that I know, so they got a little bit of weight for that. I didn't see them, at least in individual skill, it didn't on paper look like punching up much, but you never know with orgs like that, like how, over a season goes, how much they can improve. And Dogs at Bark was a team that I really was excited about some of the champ pools and things like that for their solo laners. I thought it looked really interesting. And they got a little bit of knockoff for some of their subs, I think, in their rating, but I'm really excited to see that team play this season. I think that they could be a team that punches up, but at least right now, they're a little bit lower for me.
Okay, and Dongwater, who, if I remember correctly, is on Dogs That Bark, is saying, "We are boomers with kids, and your algorithm doesn't factor in dad mode." If
Look,
you had to,
this is unbiased. I'm a dad, okay? This is
Oh.
an unbiased opinion.
so apparently the algorithm factors in dad mode because it is made by a dad.
I fathered the algorithm.
Oh,
I mean, I do also have a real child, but
oh.
I do also have a real child, but I do also have a real child, but
That's Detroit versus everybody. Never
Double
mind.
curveball.
Oh yeah, that's why Detroit versus everybody.
Well, we
so
have
high
you
up. I
guys
saw
all.
that fourth,
You guys all up there, yeah. Anyways,
Conceive dad bias.
it's
dad
the
bias.
D's. The
Dad,
D's. I get
it is
confused.
dad bias.
Dad bias.
It's dad bias.
Okay, without the dad bias, Less Force, go ahead and jump in 7 and 8, unless you have a big secret to tell me.
Well, the thing with my rankings, I had Dreaded Dawn higher than the 7-8, but that's kind of where they're like slotting in here. I think that this team is returning a lot of the best pieces that they had last season, where they started out super strong in Group B last season. I think they were 6-0 before having a couple off weeks in the middle of the season, and then got knocked out in the first round by the Naughty Dogs. They have a pretty strong bot lane in Sariona, and I believe Talon is still their starting support. It might actually be another player. And then PK is remaining in the jungle. I think this team is, to me, it's more in that 4 to 6-ish range. And then for me and my, I guess 7 and 8 were, it would have been Dogs That Bark and Cog Tycoon. So really kind of all over the place, at least with me compared to the grain.
Okay, that sounds like a pretty accurate thing. Just kind of out of curiosity, how much higher did you have Snack Dreaded Dawn?
I had them. Let me go back here. So for me, Dreaded Dawn is at 5.
Okay, pretty nice. Valentine, do you have some additional analysis to add, especially related to Dreaded Dawn?
I have Dreaded Dawn at 9, so around the same area. I think you kind of, when you end a season tough, you generally change things up, come back. And I'm kind of interested in how you rebound going into the next season, rebound, looking forward. My 7 and 8 are Barbecue Boys and Sentinels, though, so I not very applicable to the other two that have been mentioned.
That's got to be the biggest difference in rankings across all that we've
The
done.
Sentinels? Yeah. From
Sentinels
second to
from
8.
Second on the algorithm to 9th. Well,
That's crazy. So I'll remember this, Val. So, where did
I'm sure Ram
Dogs
will
that where did Dogs That Bark fall on your ranking then? Since that was kind of the team name that didn't get mentioned in your 10th. Okay. So
I have Pug. I think my other big outliers, I have Cog Tycoon at 5.
that is a pretty big outlier. We didn't mention Cog Tycoon yet. So Vega, where do you slot those guys in?
hoping you wouldn't ask me about them. They're the team I didn't finish, so they had 0 points, so they auto slotted.
That's 10.
This group.
That's tough.
I couldn't find enough roster information fast enough this morning to finish them out, so they're 10th place.
Okay. Last Force, do you have any non-0 point analysis to add?
I will say that for me, they were in at 7, and I think though a lot of the same logic applies, as this was a team that was added to the added to the league relatively late in the process. They were the first team in off the wait list, essentially. They look to have some strong players, particularly Matt C looks to be their mid laner, might be on paper their best overall player. But again, it was just kind of right before we were getting prepared to do this. They kind of got slotted in, and so we just have to kind of see what they do. I think just outside the playoff picture in 7 for me is pretty reasonable for them, but they could end up a little bit higher. We just have to kind of like see where these players are lining up and like how they perform as a squad. As there's I don't think any recognizable names on this roster for me.
All right. So, with this kind of final ranking here, we'll kind of start running through it real quick, and you guys can stage objections if you have them. We have in first place Team Volatility Arcana, then followed by Avalanche and LA Tech Varsity for our top 3 podium. Following that, we have Detroit versus Everybody, Infinity Edgelords, PC Sentinels, and Snack Dreaded Dawn in our middle 4. And then we are rounding out with Cog Tycoon, Dogs That Bark, and Barbecue Boys down at the bottom 3, ready to punch up and usurp our expectations. Any objections so far, gentlemen? I'll take the silence as a no.
No.
We're
Yeah,
gonna we're gonna go ahead back over the other teams. We can let Sammy out of the cage now. Where did you guys end up putting Triferic Souls on your commercial group B rankings?
We just wanted to save the best for last.
Yeah.
I mean, all things considered, I had them at 9. With Twimpus Flame at 10. So, it wasn't that different for me.
Hey, Less Force, can you raise their spirits?
For Trifecta Souls, Sammy did DM me during the show and say how he was disappointed at the ranking for Trifecta Souls. I think they're a solid squad. It's a lot. It's several of the players from the econ roster. That econ roster wasn't able to sneak into playoffs last season, and now they're moving up into a tier with a lot of econ teams that did have a good performance in playoffs. So for me, I had them in that like 5-6ish range. I recognize some of the names on here. I recognize Migra Assassin the jungler, Sammy 2 Slap of course, Squeewee, but I would just like to see them have a good start to the season, as I just think that there are, of the econ rosters that came up and ended up in Group B, it just, to me, I liked Suboptimal, Sector 7, and other, the Silent Assassins. I just like them a little bit more.
Okay. Vega, where did the algorithm spit Triferic Souls out?
They were 5th.
Okay.
According to the algorithm, they were 5th place. So, hey, that's a playoff team. I think Les Force gave a lot of good analysis on it, so I don't have much to add to that. But yeah, we're definitely higher than Tip.
2 chat messages here. One, That Boy Truth pings us and says, Les Force is putting my team low because he knows when he ranked me 20th in preseason rank, I giga-stomped everyone and made someone rage quit the league. Good strats. That Boy Truth is on a TV roster. Am I correct on that?
He is on the TV Chaos roster that got disrespectfully rated at number 7 by yours truly.
So you're just going for the rage buff for That Boy Truth.
It worked last season.
And then
He's doing it for them.
Yeah, doing it so this was all planned. And then Cryptic sends in it's pronounced like we now pronounce Sammy 2 Slap as the GOAT. So whenever we discuss the GOAT, we have to refer to him as the GOAT. So unless there's another it's pronounced like coming in, then that's how we're going to be referring to him. So when we say the GOAT, we're talking about Sammy. So to kind of review our Group B rankings, we have Suboptimal, Sector 7, and The Misfits in our top 3 podium. Silent Assassins, Goons Incorporated, Triferic Souls, and Stop, Drox, and Roll in our middle 4. Serenity Bad Boys Club, Snack Twempest Flame, and Flash for Damage finishing out the bottom of the standings. Any significant objections? All right.
No.
And then reviewing Commercial Group A, we have High Alert, Team Backflip, and Triferic's Normal up at the top 3 podium. Homies United, Cuddly League Guys, Homo Simpians, and TV Chaos down at the bottom. TV Chaos receiving the Rage buff as Less Force put out there. And then Simeon Surfers, FSU, and Serenity insert name down towards the bottom of the standings, looking to prove us wrong. All that sound good? Y'all ready to move on to
Yep.
financial?
Let's do it.
I'm ready.
Oh
Let's
boy.
cruise on over to financial group A. So this is the one where, Les Force, are you on BYOB?
I am captain of BYOB.
So Les Force is the captain of Team Volatility BYOB. Val is the captain of Diamond Hearts Club, and I am the captain of Panther Corps Highlanders. So this one is going to be an interesting little fun thing, isn't it? All right, so who do you guys have as your number one? Let's start with Vega, who is the unbiased one here, technically.
He number one team in Group A according to the algorithm, and I will say, so I grouped these based on I said high confidence, mid confidence, low confidence. 3 high confidence teams went into Group B, and only a single high confidence team went into Group A. It's the only team that was green that I put in Group A. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings here. But Team Volatility BYOB was the number one team for the algorithm in Group A.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I'll remember this.
Look, okay, if it makes you feel better, I think you're all going to be very happy.
Valentine, who do you have as your number one pick?
Team Volatility.
I'm going to cry.
Look, they just okay.
Les Force, where do you have Team Volatility BYOB?
I have TV BYOB in number 1 in Group A.
All right, so I'm gonna rank them 10th, and we're gonna average it out so that they're like
10th out of
4th
8.
place.
How's that work?
Oh, yeah, I forgot how many teams we were ranking here, huh? All right, yeah. So I guess I'm gonna go ahead and get out voted on this one. It's like the only league where I really have opinions. You know what? Let's just we'll stick with Les Force, and you can give us your number 2, and then we'll get the number 2s from the rest of the folks as well. So Les Force, who's your second place team?
My number 2 in Group A is Howdy Chef.
I'm gonna kill you.
This is. I'm happy that the draft
defend the take
created
when the
such
time
content.
comes.
Defend yourself.
All right, so again, I've played in financial every season I've been in the LBLCS. And as part of that, I've played against the same teams over and over again. And this is going to sound like shade, but I've played against both Team Fried Chicken and Howdy Chef, which is now, or formerly known as Team Laser Moon. I think Laser Moon has been a much tougher team historically to play against than KFC, even though they've won back-to-back championships. Like, my team has always struggled against Laser Moon. I think Tokufin is a crack jungler. I think Arcadius is a really good AD carry. Wolga Babu, consistent mid laner that we always had a hard time like trying to break because he'd play really safe stuff like a Swain, Alessandra, like things that were hard for us to beat him on. And so I take that historical toughness I've had with them. And so other than myself, of course, I think they are the best team in Group A.
I'm gonna ask Les because obviously I think it's been a season or two since, because I know Arcadius spent a season on Narwhals as a sub support. So this is one of the first seasons that Arcanus is back. What do you think about them not having Getatsu Zero in the top lane anymore?
That's definitely an issue. I mean, obviously, we'll have to see what the new roster looks like, and this is also not going to be shade to get top 2-0, but of the players on that Team Laser Moon squad that we've had to play against several times, top lane was not where we felt like we were struggling the most. We felt like it was primarily Tokufin was like the best player on that squad, and we felt like we had answers at times. Of course, there were games where they beat us top, but generally it was the pressure of Tokufin in the jungle rather than Gaptopsu just like solo boloing top.
Yeah, I think the team you're talking about is also the team that knocked me out in playoffs last season as well. So I feel like I do have to kind of give a little bit of respect to that. Oh no, KFC did, right? Yeah, I think it was Earl.
You had to play KFC.
Earl.
Yeah,
Earl got me.
Against the, I'm gonna go like insane talking about Earl. I won't lie to you.
They're a very consistent team. Uh,
Yeah.
So Val, who was your number 2? Was it also Howdy Chef?
No, my number 2 is PC Highlanders.
Oh, babe.
Um, I think PC Highlanders. I actually had a very strong season. Right, you're playing. Even though you're quote unquote playing second to Narwhals, clearly another really good was the clear number 2 in Group B. Came in playoffs, played Team Volatility very close, and still came out on top.
80% of the team is different. The only person who is
This
the
is
same
true.
is me.
Hold on, I'm aware.
So take
And I
that with a
think
grain of salt.
a lot of things change. You know what's weird? Hold on, this confuses me because I have a weird feeling about this. Quicksilver and Sideclick beat Team Volatility, then left Team. This doesn't make any. I just real.
Yeah, I did get cucked. I'm aware of that.
I forgot.
But you're happy about it.
He doesn't seem all that happy about
There's
that.
no PC executive team this season, so I'm fine with it for now.
You can root for TV out of
Through
half-hearted
gritted
fandom.
teeth. Vega, who was your number 2 team?
PC Highlanders
Oh,
was
baby,
the
let's
second greatest team in this group. Yeah. I thought you guys historically looked good. Individual players checked all the boxes. Pretty highly rated team. I won't tell you where you were overall in ranking, but second in this group.
I'll take it.
I like
There
it.
you go.
So, and Vega and Valentine, do you guys agree with the Howdy Chef at number 3 rankings, or would you guys like
Yes.
to add some more into there? Ooh, Vega's raising an eyebrow.
Yeah.
Want to post a picture in our chat and just explain why I do not have Howdy Chef higher, okay?
Oh
Okay.
boy. Okay.
I'm excited. The last time we got a picture related to this, it was about a certain executive team. I thought it was very funny.
Yeah, this will be okay. So here's what I used to work off with for the algorithm for Howdy Chef. So, algorithm.
Oh,
that makes it
can I
that
put this
hard.
on stream?
Yes, it was a little bit hard to gauge where I thought they might be.
That's what
based on
Vega's
that.
algorithm looks like for Howdy Chef right now.
Yeah, I went to
So-
Russia. I didn't see any links, so it's kind of hard to generate a ranking.
It's a little
So
difficult.
I trust the other two's analysis on this one.
Okay, fair enough.
I guess.
So in that case, we'll stick with you, Vega. Give us your 4-5 here.
So my 4-5 would be Needlessly Large Rod and Diamond Heart Club. Both were pretty tight to Panther Core as far as rating goes. All within 0.6 of each other. So there wasn't like a huge, well, I mean 0.6 of each other, not Panther Core to Diamond Hearts. But yeah, I considered, according to the algorithm, that for at least Group A, that pans out as far as how it spit them out as far as rating goes.
Okay, Valentine, what do you think about that rating there of the 4-5 NLR HC?
I have an NLR at 5. I have Sound Gaming at 4. I have Diamond Hearts Club at 7.
Humble.
Humble.
Very- yeah, could not be
it's
anyone
humble.
else on this damn show.
Humble.
I mean, I think we had an interesting season last season, and I think the core of players that is playing have had mixed results. I think myself and my ADC have, myself and my ADC have played in every LBLCS season, and we've both played, I think, every role except one. To maybe one good playoff finish. So between I think what is a roster that is interesting on paper, I just couldn't really justify putting ourselves above on my list, Clown Gaming and Dig Diggers, who I have at 6.
Okay, reasonable enough. Humble. Lust Force. give us your 4-5 here, and probably the 6th as well, considering we've got some variance in the analysis here.
Yeah, so I've got the needlessly large rods at 4, and I think that we just have to, call it out as it is. It's the return of Dizzy Dave, the TikTok legend that has brought so many people, including myself, to the low budget LCS. He didn't play for a few seasons. I think one of those seasons just missed the sign up deadline by a week by mistake, but he is back. I'm financial now, whereas before the large rods were playing in commercial. I think their team looked to be right at about the point cap, maybe a point under. Looked to have some pretty strong players, particularly I would say like in the mid to bot area. Although their jungler, if it's Healy Wheelie starting, does look like quite a good player as well. And so this roster just looks pretty strong to me. And so they would be my last team into playoffs, which I didn't actually mention it, but I do have the Highlanders third. So I don't hate you guys, Jack.
Well,
But
I didn't ask for your opinion anyway.
that's true. I did get skipped over intentionally.
Yeah.
And then in fifth place, I have Clown Gaming, and in sixth place, I have the Diggers.
Okay. So the Diggers are showing up here. Vega, where did the algorithm spit those bad boys?
Diggers for me were 5th, and then I had Clown Gaming 6.
Similar list.
Yeah.
Okay. After quickly
I do
rearranging
feel like
everything.
the accuracy of the algorithm gets better the higher ranking people get, because it feels like there's so much more data and games to pull off of.
Yeah.
And rosters don't jump as much.
Well, that makes sense to me. So this kind of leaves Sadness in 8th place. Which, did we plan for that? I don't think so. But
I will mention that I did not have them in last place.
all right, where'd you put
I did not
Sadness?
either.
Oh,
I did.
so give us your 7 and 8, less Force and then Vega.
My 7 was Sadness, so I mean, I guess that's not too much better. But then I had the Diamond Hearts Club at 8.
See, he gets it. This guy gets it.
He gets.
That was evil.
This guy gets it.
That was evil. That build-up felt like it was gonna be so positive. I had Sadness at 7 and Howdy Chef at 8 because they didn't have any data.
Okay. Okay.
Well,
so
that's
you also had Sadness at 8. So wait a second.
Well, no, they're not. They're 7th. I'm looking at it right now.
Oh my god.
That's you. You're
Wait, that
not
was the algorithm
slick.
had him at,
I
7.
accidentally typed a
The
happy
algorithm
face.
put him at 7th. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, robots don't have feelings. You make a great point.
Well,
I
So-
added them in chat and said, "You're not last in mine. Don't worry."
so
Evil.
you know, pity rankings aside of try to sneak by with that little I forgot to analyze one team so they were 8th kind of situation. We're looking at a final ranking here for Financial Group A as the podium being Team Volatility BYOB, second Panther Core Highlanders, and Howdy Chef in 3rd place. Any objections so far?
No.
I mean, besides mine, but whatever. I'm gonna cede this battle. We'll just show you up in a few weeks.
Way to be the bigger man.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Followed
Bigger than
then
in quotation marks.
Followed then by the Needlessly Large Rods and the Diggers and the Diamond Hearts Club to round out the next 3. And then finally finishing off with Clown Gaming, followed by Sadness at the bottom of the standings, ready to prove us wrong. No objections?
Fine with that.
All right. Let's finish this bad boy out and move on to Financial Group B. And I did see a comment in here. Yes, we will. You did miss the draw. The video of this will be uploaded, and within 24 hours of this kind of episode of the booth, there will be kind of the schedules put out and the brackets, and you can see everything everywhere all at once. So let's start with Valentine for Group B. Who do you have taking the trophy from the B squad?
It's Team Fried Chicken. I think you not only have, you have Earl King, just
I mean, that's
You know,
that's kind of
first-
like enough said. Like,
yeah. Earl King would be enough. You can also account for the fact that they have Gitatsu Zero, who is also, I think Earl King has 2 financial titles. Oh, hold on, I have all the champions. Give me a second. I don't want to be completely wrong about this. I think Earl King has 2 financial titles and an executive title.
I believe that's correct.
I'm
And I want to say that all of them were over me except for one of them. So, well, whatever. Rival.
Yeah. Well, he beat you en route to the first financial title.
I'm going to count that.
To be
You're
fair,
gonna count that? Okay.
in most rivalries, both teams win against each other.
Yeah, I didn't want to mention it, but you make a great point.
Well,
um,
anyway.
um, it's that, but it's like Team Fried Chicken has a history of winning, just like without kind of and putting it as simply as possible. Um, you think I think them, and I think I don't want to get this wrong. I think it's either I think 3 teams are tied for the most finals appearances. You have PC over multiple leagues with between PC Ghosts, PC Ronin, and PC Recruits.
Yeah, and all those championships we've accrued don't check me.
Yep. You have Sensei Randall's with 4, could be 5. Oh no, they have 5. I'm wrong. Yeah, they have the most, and then PC and TFC are tied, and I think I may be wrong. Maybe Serenity is also there, but I may also be very wrong. Um, but I know for sure that TFC has 4 finals appearances across 2 different leagues. They have 3 championships over 2 different leagues, and they have maybe one of, if not the most decorated single player in Earl King over those seasons. It is really hard for me to bet against a team that has won back-to-back seasons in financial. In, I think, a pretty resounding fashion, not in that they blew out their wins, but in that when they won, not only did they win and kind of stand their ground, the first win against Mint Gaming, I think, was a 3-0. Then they defended their title against Team Popo, who I think a lot of people were surprised by, but were just as good of a team. They did that, and it's just back to business. They're back here next season and just going to use their play to back up their title.
All right. Pretty strong argument for KFC. Vega, how does the algorithm match up with Val's analysis?
It substantiates Val's claims, and I will say that they are the highest rated team the algorithm has spit out since I have started doing it. They check every box. I mean, player-wise, historical context, they far and away are the best team rating-wise from the algorithm in all of financial. And yeah, no, I can't add much to what Val said. They check every box as far as individual players and as far as, historical org success. So they are definitely number 1 in their group.
All right, Lessforce, are you going to cut against the grain or are you going to agree with the pack?
I mean, the logic would state that they won the last 2 championships. They should be in first place. We'll just have to use my bias and say historically, TV is 8-8 all time against Team Fried Chicken. So we've been able to hang with them. Not last season, that was a terrible showing, but I wasn't playing, of course. So that's what happened, essentially. So am I glad they're in the other group? Yes, I did not look forward to playing against them, and hopefully I don't have to play against them this season, as they're in the other group, and someone else will knock them out in playoffs, I'm sure. But no, they're really strong, particularly on like the top 3 mid, I would say.
So you have them at 1.
Yes, yeah, they are.
Oh,
They're
wow.
my overall 1 over myself. Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. So
Big fan of that.
another time where we have completely agreed on a first seed. So let's see if that agreement continues. Valentine, would you like to give us your second and third place?
I think this is probably where it breaks off. I have Tip Top Gaming and Dirty Rats Xfinity at 2 and 3.
I'll just
I
jump and
think-
say that I have those as well, but just opposite order.
Gotcha. DRX to me, I think, is a really interesting team because if you remember my point about Simian Surfers and kind of getting the jump on people in draft and how they play the game, Dirty Rats Xfinity is that, but we already have seen them do it. Chat. Why are you guys like this?
Don't worry about it.
Dirty Rats Xfinity, I think their bot lane, I wish I had it pulled up right now. Their bot lane, I think, had more unique champs played between the two of them than most teams had unique champs played throughout the entire season across all 5 players in their lineup. In draft, they are like a team that is just going to hit and stun you. In draft, I feel like I just said in draft like 5 times.
A couple of times.
And then back it up in game, which I think is the scariest part about a team that is wacky there. And Tip Top Gaming, I think, is just an all-around solid roster. They have solid pieces, and I think that usually trends towards being good.
Okay. Less Force, since I went to Vega the first time last time. Less Force, what is your 2-3 looking like?
Yeah, so it's just the reverse of that. I have DRX at 2 and then Tip Top at 3. Right, because you said Tip Top at 2, right, Val? I'm not.
Yeah, Tip Top at 2.
Yeah, yeah. So DRX, I mean, you kind of mentioned it. I think it's almost the entire. I think it might be the same 5 that we saw last season. These guys play a very unique style of league, and I think it's difficult in a competitive setting to kind of like prepare for what was it, like 13 different support picks that they pulled out last season, or it was something astronomical. I wasn't in that group. I didn't actually play against them at all, but they didn't look super fun to play against, and they took a fried chicken to game 3 in the first round of playoffs, and they had a really resounding win in that playoff series. So for me, I thought they were the next best squad. I think overall I had them at I want to say 5. Yeah, I think it was 5 overall. I think they're a pretty good squad, and they definitely just play a very unique style, which I think plays. If you're good at playing a unique style, I think can give you a huge advantage in a competitive setting like this.
Vega. Close out this analysis here. What's your 2-3 looking like?
Well, I'm gonna blow it up. So,
Oh,
someone may like this a lot, but according to the algorithm, it does take into effect a lot of different factors. Okay, there's a lot of different numbers at work here. But PC Ronin's the number 2 team in this group for me, according to the algorithm, and then Dirty Axe Affinity was 3rd for me, so I agree with the other 2 on that. I will say Tip Top Gaming was my 4, and I'll give you the numbers at where they were. They're 5.12, 5.11, and 5.09. So they're literally like right there. So I don't really disagree with anything that they've said. I mean, if you told me that there was an unknown factor that you guys know from playing against them that gives them another 0.2, then this rating's exactly the same. But Panther Core Ronin, at least, and I'll give you a peek behind the scenes. So it gives ranking historically on your account that goes back 2 seasons. And then I added a new thing, which is your overall solo queue win rate for the current season. So I gave a number value to like, okay, well, what's your win rate like in solo queue? So if you played 100 games, you won 70 of them. It weights, that pretty highly. And Panther Core Ronin actually scored really highly on historical ranking and win rates, so it bumped them pretty highly. So yeah. But outside of that, Tip Top and Direct Affinity right behind him, and I agree with pretty much everything they'd said. Direct Affinity also one of my favorite. They're like outside of you guys, of course, my pocket favorite financial team. I love them. I'm a huge.
Well, they're in the other group, so you don't have to worry too much.
Exactly, I'm a huge
yeah,
DRX fan.
awesome.
So just personal bias there. I just love them.
Okay. So kind of moving on down into this like 4, 5, 6 range. Val, I imagine the PC Ronin are going to arrive somewhere in your rankings in between 4, 5, and 6. So go ahead and shout out your 4, 5, 6 rank.
Serenity Imperial at 4, Naughty Raccoons at 5, PC Ronin at 6.
6.
Yes, at 6. I have reason for this though. I think I kind of vaguely kept track of what the strongest position across kind of each group was, and I think I came to the decision that Financial B is a mesh between kind of not really a mesh. I think other than like 1 or 2 outliers, I think the strongest positions, plural, by far in Financial B, just from how teams have played historically, how they look on paper, jungle mid. And I think the one place where I think Ronin could get challenged is in jungle mid. I think Billa and Blue Moon Jelly are gonna need to adapt because this is like the mid laners. There are specifically two mid laners in this group that I think are like the who's who of. They're both scary for their own reasons. You know, you have Earl King, who is like, whenever Earl King decides to stop playing LBLCS, we are retiring his jersey, whatever the equivalent will be for us. But the other
Nobody
one,
named Earl ever allowed back into the
Yeah,
LPLCS.
retired the name Earl.
yeah, no one named Earl. Maybe we just give him like we ask for what Team Fried Chicken's colors are and what number he wants to retire, and then we just figure it out from there. And then the other, I think he's like the boogeyman, and I wish I don't know if Praetorian's still watching the stream because he has some Snow Prisoner horror stories, but Snow Prisoner is like. You know, for my two fellow basketball fans, on the members of the booth,
You guys can go ahead and
Earl-
wonder who's not the basketball fan.
Not Earl. Snow Prisoner is the equivalent of a Russell Westbrook, Nikola Jokic MVP type.
Yeah,
player,
that makes sense.
right?
Yeah,
When
okay.
when his team, Tree Gang, has had a tough few seasons because Earl King. I kid you, Earl King is just too high ranked. And they have made the decision to play together as a team, as a friend group, and that's literally the most awesome thing on the planet Earth. Because they're, you know, if I'm in a similar position, right? My friends have ranked up far past me, and I've decided to continue playing with them for reasons I may never understand. So as a silver player in financial, Tree Gang is like awesome because Snow Prisoner is like their shining beacon. Jesus, the guy will drag that team and any team, I think, across the line of victory. And I think that may players like that may be able to trip up Ronin because they are these otherworldly players in certain roles. Especially, I think another the jungler of Naughty Raccoons, but I won't go into that just yet.
Okay. Hold on to that thought as we go to Lustforce to give us his 5-6.
My 4, 5, 6 in order are Serenity Imperial at 4, Ronin at 5, and then Tree Gang at 6.
Naughty Raccoon. Oh, okay.
Okay. Tree Gang entering the mix. Vega, what does the algorithm tell us?
I actually had Tip Top was my 4, and then Serenity Tree Gang. So Serenity Tree Gang,
Oh, wow.
I'm dead on.
Okay. So what was your top 3?
Mine was TFC, Panther Core Ronin, and DRX.
Okay, yeah. So it's looking really similar to the kind of like averaged out version of what. It's like my like gut instinct of what the average would end up being, which is definitely not what the average is, but it's definitely not biased. So if we're gonna kind of like push on in, let's start with the algorithm to kind of round out the 7 and 8, and then we can go ahead and discuss objections, and then reflect on the league as a whole. Then we can look to wrap up.
I had Squirtle Squad and Naughty Raccoons as my bottom 2. Both rosters pretty similar, and Squirrel Squad wasn't far below Tree Gang as far as I concerned. It felt like, at least looking at solo queue data and roster stuff, that these were the two I had the least information and least confidence in, at least for placing them highly. Where some of the more known rosters had a little bit more to go off of, and I felt good. I do think, and let me look at Squirrel Squad real fast here, exactly where I put them where they are. For Squirrel Squad, I really did like Shocky Walkie. Like, he rated really highly according to the algorithm. So as far as that as like a bright spot to look for, he was one of the ones that stood out to me. But yeah, that's my bottom 2. Unfortunate somebody has to be the bottom, but yeah.
I know. Well, sometimes it's unfortunate.
Just had 4
Lustforce,
blank places.
Lustforce, what you got for your 7 and 8 to round out the standings here?
Not super exciting. Mine are in alignment with the algorithm, which means that it's probably correct in Squirtle Squad and the Naughty Raccoons.
Okay, and Valentine, are you going to shake things up?
I have Tree Gang and Squirrel Squad, so very similar, but not raccoons.
So you have the
are at 5 for
raccoons
me.
at 5. Okay, so bump them up a notch.
Yep. I think that's about it.
Okay, so again, I'll go through the standings as we have them. You guys can shout out objections should there be any. So at number 1, we have an undisputed KFC, followed by Dirty Rats Xfinity and Panther Core Ronin. Then we have Tip Top Gaming, Serenity Imperial, and Tree Gang. And then finally we have Naughty Raccoons and Squirtle Squad. I'll state my objection here is, I know I didn't really participate in the rankings because I'm like busy like trying to produce it now, going on 2.5 hour show. My objection, SE Imperial should be higher, and I'm basing that off of scrims. That's a scary team, and I have to admit that I did breathe a sigh of relief as soon as they got seeded to Group B. I was like, okay, cool. I don't have to worry about that shit ever again.
I'll give a little peek behind the screen here. So SE Imperial was for me 5th place. They would have been 3rd place in Group A
Oh.
based on their score.
In terms of like aggregate
haven't-
score, does Group B fall at a significantly lower level than Group A?
There's more of a break. I feel like Group A is more tightly contested as far as score, whereas after SE, there's a significant, like Tree Gang, Squirrel Squad, Naughty Raccoons, at least for the algorithm, were a little bit lower. Whereas like Tip Top, Dirty Rats, Panther Core, and TFC were all pretty high. And obviously TFC pushes the average really high up on the group because they were the highest of all. But for instance, Panther Core Highlanders would be 4th in Group B,
That's interesting.
according to the. But you're Group A, so it doesn't matter, right? So
Of course.
This is true.
but you're Group A, so it doesn't matter.
And speaking of Group A, we're just going to go back over, and if anybody missed it, we've got Team Volatility, Panther Core Highlanders, and Howdy Chef taking the podium in order. We've got NLR, Dig Diggers, and the Diamond Hearts Club finishing the 4, 5, 6, and then rounding out the underdog standings, we have Clown Gaming and Sadness in 7th and 8th, ready to prove us wrong. So, that is 30 plus 6. That is 46 teams we did today, in an hour and a half. That's pretty impressive.
Pretty fast.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
I thought it was gonna take longer.
All right. Well, in that instance, I think that about wraps us up. I'll go back over commercial really quick, just in case anybody kind of tuned in. We've got High Alert, Backflip, Triferics Normal for the top 3 of Group A, followed by Homies United, Cuddly League Guys, Homo Sapiens, and TV Chaos for the middle 4. Simian Surfers, FSU, and Serenity insert name to take out the underdogs. In Group B, we have Suboptimal Gaming, Sector 7, and Misfits as the podium. Silent Assassins, Goons Incorporated, Triferic Souls, and Stop, Drox, and Roll, giving us our middle 4. And then finishing out the underdog standings for Group B, we've got Serenity, BBC, Snack, Twempest Flame, and Flash for Damage. Finally, we have Group C from Commercial with TV Arcana at the top, followed by Avalanche and LA Tech Varsity. Detroit versus Everybody, Infinity Edgelords, PC Sentinels, and Snack Dreaded Dawn in the middle there. And then Cog Tycoon, Dogs That Bark, and Barbecue Boys finishing us off for the 8, 9, and 10 spots. Gentlemen, I think we did a good job.
I think it was
I
flawless,
think we did.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Really flawless. I think.
especially financial
Very-
Group A.
Especially financial
Yes.
Group A.
Yeah.
Yeah. For
Interesting.
some of us, yeah. Some of us. So I'm going to... Well, gentlemen, thank you all for joining me back here at this booth. I hope that your meals were fantastic. And everybody watching, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. It was a nice long haul. Those of you who have been with me since the beginning, thank you very much for your perseverance and resiliency. We will not be back next week. We will probably not be back the week after that. But we will be back at some point to discuss how these standings predictions are playing out after the first week or so of the LBLCS play, which again starts on Monday, August 14th, which is a week from tomorrow. So
That's really close.
that's really close. So I am super excited. Again, if within 24 hours from now, according to the people who tell me things, there will be the schedules released as well as a comprehensive view of the groups for commercial and financial. This episode will be uploaded to YouTube as a video. I guess, what else are you going to upload to YouTube? This episode will be uploaded to YouTube within the next 24 hours as well, so you can go back and revisit it in case you wanted to, hate us a little bit more if we put you lower, or love us a little bit more if we put you higher. Hopefully you're going to do more of the latter than the former. And thank you. Without you guys watching, we would not be doing this. So we wouldn't have the opportunity to. We wouldn't have the space to just kind of show our love for this kind of stuff. And I gotta say, it's a blast.
Absolutely.
All right, gentlemen.
it's been
Any
great.
final words before we wrap this one up?
It takes two to tango.
It indeed takes two to tango. Thank you all very much. We love you all. Bye-bye.